Chapter 159. You all know the situation. The Valley Master has been in seclusion to seek a breakthrough. This time, the Supreme Elder, and I want Yu to preside over this matter. Do you all understand? The Great Elder knocked his walking stick on the ground and said, I may be estranged from Peak Master Lu on other matters, but when it comes to the interests of the sect, I will obey him unconditionally. Yuan Tai, the Peak Master of Wangyan Peak, stood up and declared, Greenstone Peak has no problem either. Dai Tongyan also stood up. The other Peak Masters also expressed their support. Except for Su Chenbai of Nining Peak, who was still a little squeaky, the others were all united. While Su Chenbai was squeaking, Qianwu directly smashed the armrest of his chair. If Grand Elder hadn't stopped him, he might have exploded on the spot. In the past, Qianwu supported Su Chenbai, but that was a normal competition. A sect without competition would be a stagnant pool, and would be eliminated. However, this didn't mean that he would tolerate Su Chenbai's inaction when the sect was in danger. Next was the mobilization of the Medicine Valley's manpower. Yu arranged the main forces of the 8 peaks to guard the city gates. In other words, every 2 peaks would guard an area near one gate of Danding City. The remaining 4 peaks, Taixian Peak, North Pole, Danding Peak and Wuwei Peak, continued to patrol Danding City. As for the areas of influence in other cities, the sect elders and protectors had already taken care of them. This was arranged by Grand Elder. Currently, the Medicine Valley's outer forces were under Grand Elder's control. Yu was in charge of Danding City's area. If a war broke out, the Medicine Valley's most important areas to defend were Danding City and Danding Mountain. If these 2 areas were not lost, they could still fight back. If the Golden Flame sect wanted to take over the Medicine Valley, it would be useless to take over the scattered areas. Danding City and Danding Mountain were the key areas. If the Golden Flame sect wanted to take over these 2 areas, they would have to mobilize most of their forces. In this case, it would be hard to say whether they would be attacked by other forces. This was also the reason why the Medicine Valley was not afraid. They had the courage to fight a bloody battle. With the current situation of the Golden Flame sect, the Medicine Valley felt that they would not lose. After the arrangements were made, all the peaks went to work. All the elders also left, but the Great Elder left behind Yu, as well as the Peak Masters of the Cloud Sea Peak and the North Pole Peak. According to the arrangement, Duan Lei, your Cloud Sea Peak and Nining Peak will guard the South Gate. Be more vigilant. A strong fortress is not easy to break from the outside, but it is easy to break from the inside, the Great Elder said. This, Duan Lei understands. Duan Lei hesitated for a moment before bowing to the Great Elder. North Pole, pay more attention to the South Gate when you're patrolling. The Great Elder said to Yen North Pole, and sent the 2 away. Only the Great Elder and Yu were left in the hall. According to the news from the Golden Flame sect, one of the 11 Peak Masters in our Medicine Valley is a member of the Golden Flame sect, and he is a direct descendant of the Golden Flame sect's top management. He has been sent here since he was young. I've made some calculations and initially thought that Jin Kan and Su Chenbai were the most likely suspects. After a few years of investigation, Jin Kan has been ruled out as a suspect, the Great Elder said. So it's Su Chenbai? Yu said angrily. It's almost confirmed. But we don't need to pay attention to him for now. It's a pity that the Second Elder has cultivated him. The Great Elder said with a sigh. Does the Second Elder know? Yu understood that this was definitely a blow to the Second Elder. The Second Elder, Qianwu, had a violent and upright personality. Now that he had a traitor disciple, once he knew, it would be hard for him to accept it. Yes, I know. If you didn't stop him, he would have killed Su Chenbai. He was holding back just now. The Great Elder nodded. Although we had some conflicts in the past, I didn't expect this to happen. Yu was also shocked. This is the seed that the Golden Flame sect planted in the Medicine Valley. If you didn't stand in front of him and he really took the position, you can imagine the situation in the Medicine Valley, the Great Elder said with some lingering fear. Now there was a consensus in the Medicine Valley that the future Valley Master would be Yu. This could be seen from the fact that the crisis in the Medicine Valley this time was led by Yu. The Valley Master of the Medicine Valley, Hua Yinpeng, was originally the Valley Master of the Wuwei Peak. When the old Valley Master stepped down, Hua Yinping took over from the Wuwei Peak to the Danding Peak. The motto of the Wuwei Peak was to not fight and pursue the concept of inaction. Therefore, after Hua Yinping took over, he didn't manage the affairs of the sect and had been pursuing his own breakthrough. Otherwise, the Great Elder wouldn't be so busy and would have entered the worship pagoda to cultivate. Then we should keep him for now. Keep this root of trouble? Yu Yangyu said with a frown. Keep him for now. He has his uses. After all, there are some messages that we need him to deliver. For example, this time, the Medicine Valley will fight to the death. If the Golden Flame sect knows about it, will they dare to act rashly? The Great Elder said with a smile. Yu Yangyu nodded. In the Eastern Profound Domain, or even the entire 9 regions in 18 states, if a big force wanted to annex a small force, they often relied on deterrence rather than fighting to the death. In a real fight, even if they carried out the annexation, the losses would be great and the gains would not make up for the losses. At present, the Golden Flame sect and the Medicine Valley were in the same situation. Great Elder, there is another problem. The 12 peaks are the distribution of the main forces of the Medicine Valley. They are also the places where we cultivate talents. If Su Qinbai, this malignant tumor, is not removed, then won't the Nining Peak be ruined? Yu Yangyu didn't want to see the Medicine Valley's strength fall. This problem needs to be solved. He is a member of the Golden Flame sect. Only his true confidants will know. The other disciples of the Nining Peak won't know. At present, there are only a few people who have been corrupted by him. When this problem is solved, we will transfer him away from the Nining Peak and find a suitable replacement. The Great Elder explained his plan. Only one true edition hashtag, the others are all Pirate Plus edition hashtag. Yangyu understands. The Medicine Valley needs time. At present, the Southern Dipper sect is holding back the Medicine Valley. But what about later? When the Golden Flame sect resolves the conflict with the Southern Dipper sect, they will still come back to target us. Yu Yangyu wasn't worried about the current situation, but he was worried about the future. You are right. However, 2 of the Great Elders have gone to the Southern Dipper sect. One of them is acquainted with a senior member of the Southern Dipper sect, and has a relationship with him. The other one helped the vice sect master of the Southern Dipper sect refine elixirs in the past. As a favor, I hope the Southern Dipper sect can hold back the Golden Flame sect from behind when they attack us. The Great Elder said. I see. I hope it will go smoothly. Yu Yangyu sighed. Why did he ask for help? It was because the Medicine Valley wasn't strong enough. In the past, they didn't have the Holy Cauldron scripture. Too many people were stuck at a bottleneck and couldn't break through. Now that the Holy Cauldron scripture had been found, the Medicine Valley needed time. With time, they wouldn't have to be afraid of the Golden Flame sect's provocation. Chapter 160. Hua Yinpeng had already decided to abdicate. The only reason he had been holding on to the position for the past few years was because there hadn't been a suitable candidate. Then what does Grand Elder think? Yu Yangyu pondered for a moment before asking. Tell me your opinion first. The Grand Elder smiled. This could be considered a test for Yu Yangyu. If we're talking about seniority and prestige, the elders would naturally be the best choice. But the elders are already very old. If they were to manage a peak, they would be too lifeless. It wouldn't be suitable. Yu Yangyu only spoke half of his opinion. Your opinion is very good. There are no problems. Once the situation stabilizes, we'll make arrangements for this. I'm also tired. The Valley Master's ability is great, but his heart isn't on this. The Grand Elder stood up. In the Dragon Spring Monastery, after drinking some wine, Knight Sorrow greeted Yang Lei and Aoi, before going into seclusion to attack the 3rd level of muscle strengthening. Gong Xian and the others had already gone to Danding City to patrol. Yang Lei didn't go because of Yu Yangyu's instructions. Breaking through to the 3rd level of muscle strengthening wasn't difficult for Knight Sorrow at all. All he had to do was strengthen the tendons in his legs. With the leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill as a backup, it took him less than 4 hours to complete. Whether it was in the blood refining realm or the muscle strengthening realm, strengthening the tendons in the legs was the easiest. Over the next 2 days, Night Sorrow used this time to stabilize his cultivation base. After stabilizing his cultivation base, Night Sorrow greeted Yang Lei and Aoi before going to Tianji Tower. 3 days had already passed. He wanted to go ask Law Enforcer Dong about Yundong Town's follow-up mission. Hearing that Night Sorrow was going to Danding City, Yang Lei didn't allow Night Sorrow to refuse and followed along. Hashtag 2p permanent h-free/k read novels. 9 Now, Night Sorrow was the treasure of Taishan Peak as well as the face of Medicine Valley. If Night Sorrow was killed or injured by the disciples of Golden Flame Sect, Medicine Valley would lose face. After passing through layers of blockades set up by the disciples of the Medicine Valley, the two entered Danding City. They took a beast carriage and arrived at Tianji Tower. After asking the service staff to inform him, Night Sorrow waited for Enforcer Dong. After Enforcer Dong appeared, he brought Night Sorrow into the private room. Yang Lei sat in the hall, drinking tea and waiting. She knew that Enforcer Dong had a good relationship with Night Sorrow, and she also knew about the relationship between Enforcer Dong and Sikong Chiyu. In the private room, Enforcer Dong took out the mission list. This time, it's not bad. The mission I submitted is a special bronze mission. It's a team mission. Of course, you can also accept it alone. Otherwise, it would be a silver mission. Night Sorrow took a look and was stunned. The mission points for killing the witch were 5 times more than the investigation mission. How is it? Although there are no gold notes or resources, the points are very high. It's better than the average silver mission, Enforcer Dong said with a smile. Then I'll accept it, Night Sorrow said. Are you planning to submit it later? Looking at Night Sorrow, Enforcer Dong asked with a smile. I'll submit it now. Night Sorrow took out the storage belt with the heads of the 2 witches and handed it to Enforcer Dong. Based on your character, I knew you wouldn't keep the 2 witches alive. Tell me, how did you kill them? Enforcer Dong asked while looking at the heads. My method this time was not honorable. Their cultivation was too high, and I couldn't kill them. So I used a poisonous grass to make them unable to fight back, Night Sorrow said. That's right. They did absorb the yang energy but didn't refine it. This mission is complete. I'll exchange it for points for you. Looking at the heads, Enforcer Dong took Night Sorrow's mission plate to register. In this mission, Enforcer Dong personally recorded the mission's handover record. It was no different from Night Sorrow's handover record. As for how Night Sorrow completed the mission, Enforcer Dong remembered it clearly. Not bad. You have half of the bronze points. At this speed, it shouldn't take long for you to advance to the silver token. Unfortunately, the Medicine Valley is in troubled times now, Enforcer Dong sighed. He felt sorry for Night Sorrow. If Night Sorrow was born in a big family, he would definitely be a master who could use heaven and earth treasures at will. He would be an absolute member of the family. They can do whatever they want. I'll cultivate and do my missions. If the war starts, it won't be too late for me to join the battle. However, my cultivation is useless. Night Sorrow laughed self-deprecatingly. Indeed, in a battle between 2 forces, Yuan gathering stage cultivators were not even considered cannon fodder. Since you've decided, come and take a look when you have time. If you find a suitable mission, it'll be good for you to advance to the silver token earlier. You can also exchange the points for resources, Enforcer Dong said with a smile. He didn't go into too much detail. He knew very well that advancing to the silver token earlier would greatly benefit Night Sorrow's accumulation of experience in Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow bowed to Enforcer Dong and left the private room with Yang Lei. He didn't even take the siren's storage belt. Looks like it went very well. It's good to have connections, Yang Lei said. It went very well. I accepted the mission and handed it in directly. I got a lot of points. Plus, I've worked hard to complete the missions during this period. My points are more than half of the bronze token now, Night Sorrow said. Advance to the silver token as soon as possible and advance to the core condensation stage. This way, Tianji Tower will pay more attention to you. For example, Enforcer Dong will hand over the information about your mission to the headquarters. He won't hide anything, Yang Lei said. I'll work hard. This Tianji Tower is really powerful. Night Sorrow was indeed in awe of Tianji Tower. Even someone as arrogant as Zhang Peng from the Golden Flame sect didn't dare to cause trouble in Tianji Tower. Yes, everything that happened to you, including killing Zhang Peng, will be reported by Tianji Tower. Purple attention is very important to Tianji Tower. Senior sister, let's go to the City Lord's mansion to see Master. Night Sorrow said to Yang Lei. Okay, you have wine with you. Let's buy some food. Yang Lei nodded and said. In the City Lord's mansion's hall, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu and Qian Wu. The two were looking at the map of Danding City. 13 You are here. Come and greet the second elder. Yu Yangyu greeted Night Sorrow. Disciple Night Sorrow greets the second elder. Night Sorrow bowed to Qian Wu. Good, very good. I saw your performance in the sect tournament. You are indeed very good. To be honest, you are the most outstanding talent in Medicine Valley in hundreds of years. Qian Wu said with a smile. Thank you for your praise, second elder. Master, you've been busy all day. Disciple and ninth senior sister have brought some food and wine. Master and second elder, please have some. Yi Shang took out the food he had bought from the restaurant, and the wine from his storage ring. Okay, how is your cultivation going? Yu Yangyu asked the second elder after inviting him to sit down. Everything is going well. Night Sorrow nodded. That's good. Danding City is a bit chaotic. Don't run around. Yu Yangyu said while drinking. Chapter 161. Why can't we go there? Night Sorrow didn't understand, so he asked. Don't ask. Just do as the second elder says. Yu Yangyu didn't let Night Sorrow continue asking. Su Qinbai's matter was a pain in Qian Wu's heart. At the same time, it was also a secret of the Medicine Valley. After Yu Yangyu explained, Night Sorrow nodded and didn't ask further. Come, you two sit down and have a drink. This wine is really strong. Qian Wu waved at Night Sorrow and Yang Lei. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei also sat down. However, Yang Lei didn't say anything. She had a problem with Qian Wu because Su Qinbai and Su Mu were both Qian Wu's disciples. Ninth brother, let me tell you something. Competition within the sect is a good thing. It can make the members of the sect full of fighting spirit. This is also the reason why the second elder didn't stop some things, so you have to weigh it in your heart. Yu Yangyu could see that Yang Lei had some opinions about Qian Wu. Yangyu, your thoughts are the same as mine. However, some things have deviated from the right track. This is indeed my dereliction of duty as an elder. Qian Wu laughed at himself and drank a bowl full of wine. Second elder, some things are unpredictable. Yu Yangyu tried to persuade him. Yang Lei and Night Sorrow didn't interrupt. They both felt that there were some things that they didn't know. After drinking 2 bowls of wine, the two of them took their leave. Ninth senior sister, did something happen? I feel like the second elder is blaming himself, Night Sorrow said. Maybe. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said something like dereliction of duty. Let's not ask about these things. After all, it involves the reputation of the sect's elders. If he knows he's wrong, then let's forget about it. Otherwise, we won't give him any face. Yang Lei muttered. Sitting in the beast carriage, the two left Danding City and returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, can I continue to use the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid to cultivate? Night Sorrow asked. Back then, when Night Sorrow had obtained the heaven grade treatment, the Medicine Valley had given him 2 drops of medicine cauldron spirit liquid. During the sect tournament, Night Sorrow had used 1 drop, so there was still 1 drop left. Sure. With your current status as the top of the Yuan ranking and the treatment of a heaven-ranked disciple, you can get 2 drops every year. It's suitable for you to use it now to strengthen your foundation, Aoi said to Night Sorrow. After listening to Aoi's explanation, Night Sorrow nodded and returned to his room. He urgently needed to increase his strength. Although no one said it, Night Sorrow knew that he was a burden to Taishian Peak and needed someone to protect him. In addition, he also hoped that he could reach rank 4 as soon as possible, so that he could go to the Qingtian region. The faster his cultivation increased, the more likely he would be recruited by the Tianji Tower. At that time, it would be easier for him to go to the Qingtian region. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow ate the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid and began cultivating. He did not use the Supreme Grade Soul Gathering Pill, or Leopard Embryo Tendon Strengthening Pill. Although the energy contained in the Medicinal Cauldron Spirit Liquid was different from the Soul Gathering Pill and Soul Increasing Pill, it could not provide an endless supply of energy. However, the energy contained in the Medicinal Cauldron Spirit Liquid was not small, and was enough for him to absorb for a few days. Night Sorrow cultivated for 2 days, until he completely absorbed the Medicinal Cauldron Spirit Liquid. On the second day of cultivation, Night Sorrow's chi could no longer increase. He had reached the bottleneck of chi gathering level 4. Later on, he cultivated the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. After changing into a linen robe made by Auntie Lin, Night Sorrow left his room. In the hall on the first floor, Night Sorrow saw the silver fox cub. A few days ago, Night Sorrow had left the silver fox cub in the care of Aoi and Hai Luo, so he did not take care of it. When it saw Night Sorrow, the silver fox cub directly jumped onto Night Sorrow's shoulder. Ninth junior sister, did you see that? This is a plaything that is not mature. I took care of it for a few days, but it ignored me. Now that 13 is here, it immediately went over to me. Aoi said somewhat gloomily. This matter is really hard to explain. It's just like a relationship between a man and a woman. You take the initiative to like someone, but they might not necessarily like you back. Young Lei said. A relationship between a man and a woman? It's like you know more than me. Aoi laughed. She and Young Lei were about the same age, and they had been in the sect for about the same time. She was very clear about Young Lei's situation. She had never come into contact with a man outside of the Taishan Peak. Night Sorrow brought the silver fox cub to the garden of the other courtyard. He combed the feathers of the resting Tianyu, and then casually strolled around the courtyard. He wanted to relax and then continue to break through. He cultivated the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome and the Sacred Cauldron Scripture, so he broke through twice as many levels as others. The effort he put in was also the same. Fortunately, he could cultivate both at the same time, so it was not a waste of time. After strolling around, Night Sorrow arrived at the attic where Sikong Chiyu lived. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow walked in. The attic was very clean. Hai Luo, Luo Wei, and the others came to clean it every day, but the original furnishings had not changed at all. Night Sorrow stayed in Sikong Chiyu's attic for a while, and only left when it was time for lunch. At noon he did not practice with Yang Lei. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow returned to his room, and began to break through. Night Sorrow had broken through a few times in the Yuan Gathering tier, so he was very familiar with it. He had accumulated enough true chi, and it was also very solid. Breaking through was done by sleeping. The advancement of the Sacred Cauldron Scripture was much easier than that of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. It was just the condensation of true chi. However, every advancement of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome was very painful. It was as if the body had to be dismantled and reassembled. With the example of the pain of the advancement of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, the advancement of true chi was not a problem for Night Sorrow. He successfully broke through to the 5th level of Yuan Gathering tier in 4 hours. After the advancement, he ate a leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill, and cultivated the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, while stabilizing his battle chi. 6th senior sister, 13 is a little bastard. He has no concept of time when he cultivates. He won't eat breakfast with us. He has advanced. While muttering, Yang Lei casually probed, and found that Night Sorrow's chi had changed. It was the chi of the 5th level of Yuan Gathering tier. What else is there to say? His advancement speed is fast and his foundation is solid. We can't compare to him, Aoi said with a smile. Indeed, it's not good to be unconvinced. When others stabilize their cultivation, it will delay their cultivation speed. With the cultivation speed, there will be the drawbacks of cultivation speed. Now he has both a fast advancement speed and a solid foundation, Yang Lei said as she looked at the stairs leading to Night Sorrow's room. This is the tragedy of the Medicine Valley's newcomers. Think about it, in this year's Battle of the Newcomers, other than Sumu, 13 swept away everyone else. Next year Sumu will be even worse. Which newcomer can contend against 13? That would require the strength of the first place on the Yuan ranking. Unless there is a guy in the peak of Yuan Gathering tier participating in the disciple recruitment ceremony. Aoi said with a smile. Chapter 162. During the sect assembly, the higher-ups of Medicine Valley announced that everyone who joined the sect for 3 years would be considered as newcomers and could participate in the newcomer competition. This was mainly to increase the competitive atmosphere. Although there were drawbacks and it was difficult for newcomers to stand out, outstanding newcomers would still have a chance after 1 or 2 years. Just as the two were chatting, Night Sorrow appeared. Are the 2 senior sisters here? Yes. You broke through without a sound. Your speed is amazing, Aoi said. Let's go and eat. I'm hungry, Night Sorrow said while rubbing his stomach. Aoi nodded. The 3 of them went to the cafeteria. Nangongdai, Chuning, and the rest were all there. Chuning and Tang Tian each grabbed one end of the elbow and refused to let go. Nangongdai was trying to calm them down. Good for you. You guys continue to fight. Pretend we don't exist. Yanglei waved her hand and sat down with Aoi and Night Sorrow. Chujio, are you going to let go? Tang Tian shouted. Although you're the senior brother, you can't bully others. I took it first. Chuning refused to let go. Night Sorrow, Yanglei, and Aoi were eating while watching. You guys continue to fight over this elbow. You guys didn't delay your training time, right? Don't sleep tonight. Make up for the lost time. Yanglei drank a mouthful of soup and said slowly. Chuning, you tricked me. Tang Tian let go. Chuning's face turned blue. This was bad luck. Ignoring them, Yishang and the other 2 left the loft after finishing their meal. Practice for a while. Night Sorrow looked at Yanglei and asked. No, I want to rest for a while and drink some tea. You don't cherish yourself, but I do. Yanglei sat on the deck chair in the garden and said. Night Sorrow smiled and sat down. He teased the silver fox cub that ran to his feet. That traitor, I bathe it every day, but it's not close to me, Aoi complained. It's mainly because when it first met Night Sorrow, it felt Night Sorrow's kindness. It's already deeply rooted in its heart, Yanglei said. This was just like humans. Normally, they might not remember who treated them to fish and meat, but when they were hungry, they would remember who gave them a steamed bun. After resting for a while, Night Sorrow and Yanglei began to practice. The sparring session this time was much more intense than before. Night Sorrow's physical strength had increased a lot, and the strength of his hands and feet had also increased. In addition to strength, Night Sorrow's true chi was also much stronger than before. Night Sorrow still controlled the vibration force at 42 waves. He had just advanced and hadn't tried to increase the number of waves yet. Even if he did, he wasn't familiar with it. There were many times when Yishan took the initiative to attack, and Yanglei also counterattacked whenever she saw an opening. She controlled her cultivation base, limiting it to the middle and early stage of the 3rd stage. Any higher, and Yishan wouldn't be able to hold on. After half an hour, Night Sorrow couldn't hold on any longer and stopped to rest. Yanglei was also tired and sat down to drink tea. Aoi had nothing to do, so she began to train Chuning and the others. During the break, Night Sorrow and Yanglei talked for a while and decided to go out and see what the Golden Flame sect's reaction was. Today was the deadline of 7 days. If the Golden Flame sect didn't retreat, the Medicine Valley would expel them. What did that mean? It meant a declaration of war. In other words, if the Golden Flame sect didn't retreat today, the Medicine Valley would take action. If the Medicine Valley took action, the Golden Flame sect wouldn't be able to stand it. The 2 forces would fight next. Because it was close, Night Sorrow didn't let Tianyu out. He and Yanglei rode the Blue Eagle to Danding City. The atmosphere in Danding City today was different from usual. It used to be tense, but today was different. All the disciples of the Medicine Valley had unsheathed their weapons and were full of fighting spirit. Everyone knew that if the Golden Flame sect disciples didn't retreat from the Medicine Valley, the battle would start. Night Sorrow and Aoi rode the beast carriage to the mayor's mansion. Although they were in a hurry, they couldn't ride the flying beasts. There were crossbows on the high-rise buildings in Danding City. They were used to kill flying beasts and were also strategic weapons in war. At this time, the city guards were no longer guarding the crossbows. The elite disciples of the Medicine Valley were there. As long as a flying beast appeared, they would kill it without warning. At the gate of the mayor's mansion, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei saw the head elder, the second elder, and Yu Yangyu. Greetings, head elder, second elder, and master. Night Sorrow bowed and greeted them. Why are you here? What a mess. Old Nine, why don't you keep an eye on them? Yu Yangyu scolded him. Yu Yangyu and the others were preparing to go to the Golden Flame sect's base in the Medicine Valley. If they didn't leave, they would start a war. It's not a big deal. It's good to see them. Yang Lei, you have to keep an eye on your junior brother. Great Elder said with a smile. At this time, the head elder's face was full of smiles. He didn't look nervous at all. The two great elders of the Medicine Valley had already sent back a message. As long as the Golden Flame sect declared war with the Medicine Valley, the Southern Dipper sect would directly attack. The other two great elders had also contacted the Walkabout sect. The Walkabout sect, which was willing to be on good terms with the Medicine Valley, had also expressed that as long as the Medicine Valley was willing to cooperate with the Walkabout sect, they would attack the Golden Flame sect when they attacked the Medicine Valley. This was the influence of alchemy sects and alchemists. The Southern Dipper sect and the Medicine Valley had a friendship. Apart from friendship, all cultivators needed elixirs. They could refine ordinary elixirs in their sects, but when it came to rare and unusual elixirs, they couldn't do it. Even if they had the materials, they couldn't refine them. However, the Medicine Valley was good at this. This was an objective problem that both the Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect faced. The most important point was that from the perspective of the development of their sects, helping the Medicine Valley was beneficial to them. The existence of the Medicine Valley was a nail in the Golden Flame sect's heart. Helping the Medicine Valley and supporting the Medicine Valley was equal to restricting the development of the Golden Flame sect. This situation was beneficial to the Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect, whose sphere of influence bordered the Golden Flame sect. After receiving the message, the head elder was sure that the Golden Flame sect wouldn't declare war. The existence of the Medicine Valley was an opportunity for the Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect to jointly attack the Golden Flame sect. In terms of strength, the Golden Flame sect was not as good as the Southern Dipper sect. With the addition of the equally powerful Walkabout sect, the Golden Flame sect would be a fool to declare war under such pressure. Under the guidance of Yu Yangyu, they walked towards the Golden Fire Pavilion. The Medicine Valley had already received the news that all the members of Golden Fire sect in Danding City had gathered there. Night Sorrow and Yang Lei walked at the back, and so did the Great Elder. Update X new most fast Kayashana. Chapter 163. Thank you for your concern, Great Elder, but I don't need anything for the time being. Night Sorrow said. He now felt that he owed the Medicine Valley a lot. Although the conflict between the Medicine Valley and the Golden Flame sect would happen sooner or later, it was caused by him cutting off Zhangping's arm. If you need anything, go to your master or find me. The sect will give you whatever help we can. You have given the Medicine Valley hope, and you are also the hope of the Medicine Valley. The Great Elder looked at Yi Shang with eyes full of admiration. The fact was just as the Great Elder said. Night Sorrow found the Holy Cauldron Sutra, which gave the Medicine Valley hope to rise again. Similarly, a young and outstanding disciple like Night Sorrow was also the future of the Medicine Valley. I will work hard. Night Sorrow could feel the care and kindness in the Great Elder's eyes. Later on, I may have to go to the Enshrined Pagoda. If you have any questions, use my token to find me at the Enshrined Pagoda. The Great Elder instructed. Great Elder, you are so biased. You are so good to 13. You didn't take care of me like this back then, Yang Lei said, curling her lips. Haha, don't compare yourself with your little junior brother. The Great Elder said with a smile. Yang Lei nodded. She was just saying. The Great Elder's prestige in the Medicine Valley was extremely high, even higher than that of the Valley Master. Before the Valley Master took office, he was the Great Elder and did things fairly. While chatting, the group arrived at the Golden Flame Pavilion. There were many people gathered at the entrance of the Golden Flame Pavilion. In the middle were hundreds of disciples of the Golden Flame sect, and outside were disciples of the Medicine Valley. They had already formed an encirclement. The leaders were Yan Beibei, Duan Lei, Gong Xian, and Chu Lingxiao. Seeing Yu Yangyu, the Great Elder, and the others, the disciples of the Medicine Valley made way for them. Qi Tiancheng, have you decided? Yu Yangyu walked out of the crowd and asked the leader of the Golden Flame sect, Qi Tiancheng. Yu Yangyu, has the Medicine Valley decided to shed all pretense of cordiality? Have you thought of the consequences? Qi Tiancheng said with a gloomy face. Don't talk to me about the consequences. Today the Medicine Valley will only give you one choice. Will you retreat or not? Yu Yangyu's answer? Are you trying to bring calamity to the Medicine Valley? Or do you think that the Medicine Valley can contend with the Golden Flame sect? Qi Tiancheng roared angrily. He was really depressed. Yesterday, the Golden Flame sect had sent an order to prevent Qi Tiancheng from clashing with the Medicine Valley. It would be best if they could intimidate Qi Tiancheng, but if not, they would retreat temporarily. The actions of the Southern Dipper sect and the Walkabout sect had already put the Golden Flame sect in a passive position. I don't know if they can resist, but let me tell you, as long as you don't retreat, no one from the Golden Flame sect will survive in Danding City. Yu Yangyu glanced at the disciples of the Golden Flame sect and said, Yu Yangyu, the Golden Flame sect will remember what happened today. Let's go. Qi Tiancheng glanced at Yu Yangyu coldly. Ignoring Qi Tiancheng and the others who were walking out, Yu Yangyu gave a strong order. From today onwards, kill anyone with the symbol of the Golden Flame sect who enters the Medicine Valley. Qi Tiancheng, who had walked a few meters away, trembled. He knew that the Medicine Valley had really turned hostile. All the members of the Golden Flame sect left. The tense atmosphere in Danding City eased. No one wanted to start a war if possible. Yangyu, call back all the people you sent out. In the future, the people of the 12 Peaks will take turns to be on duty in Danding City. We'll discuss the issue of the City Lord, the first elder said. Under normal circumstances, Ao Yushan could be the City Lord. But now that the situation was unstable, Ao Yushan couldn't control the situation. This operation had nothing to do with him. He couldn't get involved at all. After that, everyone dispersed. Yi Shang and Yang Lei followed the group back to the City Lord's mansion. The peak masters of the various peaks also arrived at the main hall of the City Lord mansion. Let's put this matter aside for now. But something can happen at any time. Danding City is the most important city. We can't afford to lose it. Ao Yushan will be the deputy City Lord. Choose another City Lord, the first elder said to the fourth elder, Lu Chenyan. I have no objection to the first elder's arrangement. Lu Chenyan nodded. Although his disciple's power was taken away, he understood that this was the general trend. During the next election, the elders and peak masters all recommended Gong Xian. Gong Xian has entered the 5th level. He's more than qualified to be the City Lord. But he has other tasks. He can't be the City Lord of Danding City. The first elder rejected directly. During the next election, Yang Lei was naturally put on the table. After all, there were very few people in the Medicine Valley in recent years. It could be said that almost no one had entered the 5th level. Yang Lei's ability was obvious to all. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, Master, I have no problem killing people. But I can't be the City Lord's disciple. Yang Lei stood up and said, Ah, that's true. What do you think, First Elder? Yu Yangyu looked at the first elder. Capable people do more work. Yang Lei, don't decline this matter. Yushan, you have to cooperate with Yang Lei. If I find out that you have any ulterior motives, don't blame me for being rude. In addition, I'll set up the position of Deputy City Lord. Qingshan, you'll stay and assist Yang Lei. The first elder made another arrangement. First elder, why don't I stay? Chu Lingxiao said. You have other arrangements. Otherwise, why wouldn't everyone recommend you? Qian Wu said before the first elder could speak. At this time Su Qinbai was frowning. The second elder hadn't made any arrangements for the people of the Ninein Peak. This was the time for the peaks to expand their influence. Hearing Qian Wu's words, Chu Lingxiao nodded. He also wanted to contribute. Since the sect had other arrangements, he had no objections. In addition, the first elder announced that a month later, before the sect's disciple recruitment ceremony, the Medicine Valley would hold a sect meeting. The Grand Supreme Elder and the Valley Lord would attend. This let everyone know that there would be a big change in the Medicine Valley. After the announcement, the first elder asked everyone if there was anything else. Qian Wu suggested that this year's disciple recruitment ceremony should be more grand. They should attract more talents and give more rewards to the disciples who passed. The first elder nodded and agreed. Then he let Yu Yangyu make the arrangements. Yu Yangyu asked the peaks to send people to inform their subordinate regions. There were still 2 months. Time might be tight, but there was still time. After the meeting, those who should leave left. Ao Yushan also gave up the mansion next to the city lord's mansion. That was the residence of the city lord. Yang Lei also asked him to arrange a place for Bai Qingshan. There were no outsiders in the hall. Only Yang Lei and Night Sorrow were left. Yu Yangyu said, "Old Jiu, I know you don't like trifles. But right now, Danding City really needs someone who can control the situation. You know, even among the elders, only a limited number of people have reached the 5th level. During this critical period, even if an elder becomes the city lord, he won't be able to control the situation without strength." Chapter 164. This is related to experience and strength. How can you be elected if you are not strong enough? You were elected not because of experience, but because of strength, Yu Yangyu said. Ninth senior sister, if you don't want to take care of the trivial matters, it's simple. Don't we have 2 vice city lords? Just let them do it. You just need to take care of them. If you can't, just set up 2 protectors and let them do the work, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, old 9. You don't see it as clearly as 13. This is the way of managing people, Yu Yangyu said with a smile as he looked at Night Sorrow. Then isn't eldest senior brother more suitable than me? Yang Lei asked with a puzzled look. There will be some personnel changes in Medicine Valley. According to the current trend, I may not stay in Taishan Peak. The new peak master will either be your uncle Master Taitsong, or your eldest senior brother. Yu Yangyu didn't hide anything from his disciple. I see. Then what about that bastard Chuling Xiao? Isn't he very strong? Even the elders of the sect approve of him, Yang Lei asked. He also needs to take on a big responsibility. Haha. Alright, old 9, stop complaining. The city lord of Danding City is a lucrative position. If you manage it well, it will benefit your future generations. Can't you see that Ao Yushan is unhappy? His Ao family has been the city lord before, and has received many benefits. Now, it's his own fault for failing to live up to expectations, so he can only step down at this juncture, Yu Yangyu said with a smile. Disciple understands. Yang Lei didn't say anything else. She knew that this was the truth. If she chose to marry and have children, then her future generations would receive great benefits. Yu Yangyu stayed for a while before leaving. He still had many things to deal with. The first elder and second elder had let him handle many of the sect's affairs. Junior sister, Bai Qingshan and Ao Yushan came back. Bai Qingshan greeted with a smile. Disciple greets the city lord. Bai Qingshan could call his junior sister directly, but Ao Yushan didn't dare to call her by her seniority. Lu Yangyu and Duan Lei were martial brothers, so Bai Qingshan was very close to Yang Lei and the others. He was Lu Qinyun's disciple and Yang Lei and Bai Qingshan's martial uncle, but in terms of closeness, he was much weaker. In the future, I will trouble senior brother Qingshan and vice city lord, Yang Lei said. Bai Qingshan nodded. He understood that Yang Lei would be in charge of Danding City in the future, but there were some things that Yang Lei would not take care of personally. Don't worry, city lord. I will do my best. Ao Yushan expressed his loyalty. After reporting the situation, Ao Yushan left with Bai Qingshan. Ao Yushan only left a few servants in the mansion. The others were taken away. He was very unlucky this year. First, his grandson offended Night Sorrow. In the end, he lost his spirit stones and the Dragon Spring courtyard. Now he had to give up his position as the city lord and the mansion he lived in. Luckily, the Ao family was rich and had other mansions. Later, let Qiuxiue, who is 6th senior sister's servant, come over. We need someone to take care of your daily life. Night Sorrow looked at the empty mansion and said, The Dragon Spring courtyard also needs people? Young Lei was not used to it. This huge mansion would be her home in the future. The Dragon Spring Courtyard has Hai Luo and Luo Wei. Little Six is also very capable, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Okay, you arrange it. It's better for us to have one more place. Yang Lei nodded and didn't refute Yishang's words. Dragon Spring Courtyard had Hai Luo, Luo Wei, and a few others managing it. There was also the manager Little Six who ran outside. There was no problem at all. Yang Lei brought Night Sorrow around the mansion. Although the mansion was not as luxurious and romantic as the Dragon Spring Courtyard, it was more solemn. While looking around the mansion, Yang Lei also arranged a room for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow did not refuse. This was Yang Lei's kindness. After staying in the mansion for a while, Night Sorrow left. Yang Lei wanted to send him off, but Night Sorrow did not agree. Yang Lei had just become the city lord and had a lot of things to do. After leaving the city in the beast carriage, Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring Courtyard with Tianyu. Looking at Aoi, Night Sorrow told her about the situation in Danding City. He could see that Aoi was very anxious. Ninth junior sister became the city lord? This is a good thing. Seems like the Golden Flame sect does not dare to start a war. Aoi felt more assured. No one wanted to see a war where both sides suffered. Plus, Aoi knew that Yu Yangyu was going to take over as the Valley Lord. If a war broke out now, it would not be good for her master. Then Aoi called Little Six and asked him to send Xiushu to Yang Lei's mansion in Danding City. After eating, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. He knew that the Golden Flame sect would not make any moves in the near future. They would be quiet for a while. What he needed to do was to improve his cultivation as soon as possible, and try his best to reach the 7th level of Element Gathering tier. Then he would be able to take the reinforcement pill and reach the 8th level of Element Gathering tier. At that time, the annual Spirit Gathering formation on Taishan Peak would be activated, and he would have a chance to reach the 9th level of Element Gathering tier. The following days were just as Night Sorrow predicted. After the Golden Flame sect retreated, they did not make any moves. After all, the Southern Dipper sect was still fighting. Night Sorrow cultivated hard every day. Every few days he would go to the Tianji Tower to check the missions. If there was something suitable he would do it. If not, he would return to the courtyard to cultivate. On the other hand, Yang Lei was a bit busy. However, she spent most of her time in the Dragon Spring Courtyard because she was used to living here. It was more convenient for Yang Lei to go back and forth. She was the city lord and had special privileges. She could ride the Green Condor to patrol in Danding City. From the city lord's office of Danding City to the Dragon Spring Courtyard, the time wasted was from the city lord's office to the city gate. It would take more than 2 hours to collect the beast carriages. After leaving the city gate, it would only take a while to fly to the Dragon Spring Courtyard. Time passed quickly. Night Sorrow's cultivation improved very quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. During this time, Night Sorrow had completed 4 bronze missions. His cultivation had also reached the late stage of the 5th level of Element Gathering tier. This was mainly due to the effect of the top-grade Soul Gathering pill. His cultivation of the Book of Myriad Tao was also very fast. He had also reached the late stage of the 3rd level of muscle strengthening. However, he had to stop cultivating and return to the Medicine Valley. The Medicine Valley was going to hold a sect meeting. The 2nd generation disciples of each peak and members of the law enforcers and above had to return to the sect to participate in the meeting. Night Sorrow actually knew the purpose of this meeting. It was to announce some changes in the members of the sect. It was a big change. After returning to the Taishan Peak, Night Sorrow saw that his senior sisters and senior brothers had all returned. He and Aoi were the last to return. 13. You've grown a lot taller and stronger during this time, Tai Tsong said with a smile. Chapter 165. The Medicine Valley Sect Assembly was held at the square in front of Danding Peak. This was an internal assembly of the Medicine Valley, so there was no need for anyone to attend the ceremony. Therefore, the location of the assembly was different from the disciple recruitment ceremony and the sect competition. When Night Sorrow and the rest arrived, there were already tens of thousands of people at the square in front of Danding Peak. This time, the Medicine Valley's sect assembly only required the participation of second-generation disciples and law enforcers and above. There were no restrictions for other members. It was best if they could come, but it was fine if they didn't. Therefore, many people had arrived. There were many chairs placed at the front of the square. These were the seats for the absolute upper echelons of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow and the rest arrived at the location of Taishan Peak. There were a few chairs for the elders of each peak. This time, Night Sorrow and the rest didn't have a seat. It was the same for the other peaks. The peak masters of each peak sat in the second row of chairs at the front of the square. The seats in front were for the elders. As more and more people arrived, there were fewer and fewer empty chairs. Yu Yangyu, the first elder, the second elder, and the rest had all arrived. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking about when the assembly would begin, more people arrived. Night Sorrow recognized one of them. It was Yu Yangyu's master, his grandmaster. There was another person who looked like an immortal. He was wearing a long robe embroidered with the pattern of Danding Peak. Beside this person, there were two elders in black robes. Both of them had white hair and beards, but they were in good spirits. After seeing these people, the people on the main seat stood up and bowed to greet them. Even the first elder cupped his hands. "You may begin." One of the elders in black robes gestured with his arm and sat down. An old man wearing a long robe with a cauldron pattern walked to the front desk. "I'm Hua Yinpeng. First of all, I apologize to all members of the Medicine Valley. I've been in charge of the Medicine Valley for so many years, but I haven't made any achievements. This is my dereliction of duty. Fortunately, the first elder has maintained the order of the Medicine Valley. From today on, I will no longer be the Valley Master of the Medicine Valley. But what I can promise is that I will never give up the glory of the Medicine Valley. As long as there is a battle, I will stand at the front. Even if my blood splashes 5 steps away, I will not let the honor of the Medicine Valley be damaged." After Hua Yunpeng finished speaking, he took off the long robe with the pattern of the cauldron on it, and put on the tight battle robe. Then he bowed to the main seat and the disciples of the Medicine Valley. The reason why he took off his clothes and bowed to apologize was that the dignity of the Valley Master of the Medicine Valley could not be blasphemed. The picture of the cauldron was the symbol of the Valley Master of the Medicine Valley. You didn't do anything wrong. You're just not good at it. A black-robed elder stood up and took 2 steps forward to help Hua Yunpeng up. "Thank you for your understanding, Grand Elder." After straightening up, Hua Yunpeng handed the robe with the pattern of the cauldron on it to the first elder. The first elder took it and handed it to the elite disciple behind him. "Don't blame yourself. Everything is fine in the Medicine Valley. You're seeking a breakthrough so that the Medicine Valley can have more deterrent ability. Sit down." After comforting Hua Yinpeng, the first elder walked to the front of the stage. Today's sect meeting is mainly to announce several things. After the elders' discussion, the Grand Elder has decided that Valley Master Hua will no longer be the Valley Master and enter the worship tower. From today on, he will be the Grand Elder. In addition, the new Valley Master will be selected. The new Valley Master will be Yu Yangyu, the Peak Master of the Taishan Peak, the first elder announced. After the first elder's announcement, everyone began to applaud. The 3 Grand Elders, Hua Yunpeng, and the other Peak Masters were all applauding. The inauguration ceremony will be held before the apprenticeship ceremony. Yangyu, now use your full power as the Valley Master and make the next arrangements. A Grand Elder said. "Okay." Yu Yangyu walked to the front of the stage. "Since I've taken over as the Valley Master, I'll first announce the personnel transfer arrangements. Since I've just taken over as the Valley Master, the position of Taishan Peak's Peak Master will be vacant, and will be taken over by the eldest disciple of Taishan Peak, Gong Xian. Gong Xian has entered rank 5, and will have no problem taking over as the Peak Master. Because Gong Xian is still young, he will be assisted by the Taishan Peak's elder Taitsong. Does anyone have any objections?" After the announcement, Yu Yangyu looked at the main seats. The Grand Elder, First Elder, and the others nodded. Even if they had objections, no one would object. Yu Yangyu had just taken over as the Valley Master, and they would only support him even if he was wrong. They had to establish the prestige of the new Valley Master. As for the personnel arrangements, they had already been approved by a few people. Next, they continued with the personnel appointments. Danding Peak's Chu Ling Xiao will be the Peak Master of the 9th In Peak. Because Chu Ling Xiao was still young, the second elder will also be assigned to the 9th In Peak to assist him. Then what should I do? Su Qinbai's face turned ugly when he heard that his position as the Peak Master had been taken away. He did not care about anything else and stood up immediately. Just follow the arrangements. Why do you have so many questions? Second Elder Qianwu reprimanded him. Then Yu Yangyu looked at Su Qinbai and said, I have just taken over as the Valley Master and have a lot of things to deal with. I need help. Peak Master Su, you can come to the main peak to help. A smile appeared on Su Qinbai's face and he sat down. After sitting down, his expression changed again. He originally thought that his position had been promoted, and he would be in charge of the Medicine Valley's overall affairs. However, Yu Yangyu did not arrange any new positions for him. At this time, he could not stand up and question him again. Also, Cloud Sea Peak is in charge of recruiting new disciples this year, right? This year, the main disciples will be sent to 9th In Peak, Taishan Peak and Crepe Myrtle. These 3 peaks need to recruit new members. The other peaks will be given the chance first. Yu Yangyu made another arrangement. After announcing some changes, Yu Yangyu returned to his seat. At this time, the first elder came to the front desk again and said, I have something to add. The mayor of Danding City used to be the protector of the Medicine Valley. Now that the Medicine Valley is in a delicate situation, the mayor of Danding City will be an elder of the Medicine Valley in the future. He can mobilize any disciple under the elder rank. In Chapter N, Section N $Kane, a great elder walked to the front desk and said, The Medicine Valley has been baptized for countless years and gone through countless difficulties. It's time for its rapid development. From today onwards, all disciples will receive double the original resources. In addition, we will treat the Golden Flame sect with respect. Although the Medicine Valley is not as strong as them, we are brave. As long as they are in the Medicine Valley, we will kill any Golden Flame sect disciple on sight. Then the first elder announced that the meeting was over, but the senior members continued to discuss some things. Congratulations, first elder brother. Knight Sorrow turned to Gong Xian and cupped his hands. Wu Qi and the others also cupped their hands and greeted him. Even the elders of Taishan Peak did the same. This was not a matter of seniority. In the Medicine Valley, the authority of the Valley Master and the Peak Master was unquestionable. Even the Valley Master would not easily intervene in the affairs of the peaks. Don't worry about it. Let's go back, Gong Xian said with a smile. He had already known about this arrangement. Chapter 166. Su Qinbai was from the Golden Flame sect. Yu Yangyu and the Great Elder had mentioned this to Knight Sorrow, mainly to remind him not to get plotted against. From today's arrangement, Knight Sorrow could see that the Medicine Valley had begun to control Su Qinbai. Chu Lingxiao taking over the position of Peak Master of the 9th In Peak was to remove Su Qinbai's real power. Qian Wu was the previous Peak Master of the 9th In Peak. With him assisting Chu Lingxiao, even if Su Qinbai had trusted subordinates in the 9th In Peak, they wouldn't be able to cause any trouble. In addition, once Su Qinbai arrived at the main peak, he would be under complete surveillance and control. Without a position, it would be impossible for him to mobilize the forces of the Medicine Valley. Knight Sorrow was satisfied that Gong Xian taking over the position of Peak Master of the Taishan Peak didn't affect him much. He didn't want anyone to come to the Taishan Peak and order him around. After returning to the Taishan Peak, Taitsong arranged for everyone to have a meeting at the Taishan Peak. Knight Sorrow and the others sat in the main hall. 13. You're going to Danding Peak. If you don't have any objections, pack up and go there later, Gong Xian said to Knight Sorrow. Eldest senior brother, why? Why doesn't the Taishan Peak want me? Upon hearing Gong Xian's words, Knight Sorrow was so agitated that his eyes turned red. To him, the Taishan Peak was his home. 13. What are you thinking? Master is worried about you, so he wants to bring you there. How can we not want you? Gong Xian stood up and hugged Knight Sorrow, patting Night Sorrow's back. I'm not going. I'll tell Master that I'll be fine at the Taishian Peak, Night Sorrow said after taking a deep breath. Yeah, I'll tell Master too. We'll take good care of 13, Aoi said. That's fine. Actually, I can't bear to part with 13 either, Gong Xian said with a smile. All right then. If not, your junior master will go talk to your revered master. When you're free, junior master can just run to Danding Peak a few more times. Taitsong chuckled. Master will agree to it. 13, my little rundown house on Bamboo Forest Peak is yours. Later, I will have someone repair it and build a loft, Gong Xian said. Thank you, eldest senior brother. Night Sorrow bowed. But you have to visit Master more often at Danding Peak. Every time he goes there, he won't feel at ease without a single disciple by his side. Gong Xian reminded Night Sorrow. Don't worry, eldest senior brother. We will all go, Aoi said. Really, this valley head position means nothing to Master. He might as well live comfortably at Taishian Peak, Young Lei mumbled. Young Lei, you can't say such nonsense. You're an elder now, do you understand? Taitsong glared at Young Lei. After the meeting at Taishian Peak, Yu Yangyu returned with the great elder. Gong Xian, is there a problem? Yu Yangyu sat down and asked Gong Xian. No problem. It's just that 13 still wants to stay at Taishian Peak, Gong Xian said as he stood up. That's fine too. If there's any problem, you can find me at Danding Peak. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and said, Master, I can't bear to leave Taishian Peak. This place is like home. But I will visit Danding Peak often, Night Sorrow said guiltily. I understand your feelings. I can't bear to leave this place either. Yu Yangyu nodded at Night Sorrow. Valley Lord, in terms of the ability to teach disciples, there are many more people in the Medicine Valley who are more outstanding than you. However, the achievements of this disciple are unparalleled in the Medicine Valley. No one can deny this fact, the Grand Elder said with a smile. He had already changed the way he addressed Lu Yangyu and no longer called him by his name. How should I put it? It's mainly because these kids are hardworking. They don't want me to lose face. Rather than saying that I've taken in disciples, it's better to say that I've taken in a group of children. Yu Yangyu looked at his disciples proudly. That makes sense. It's the truth, Great Elder nodded. After staying for a while, Yu Yangyu left. Although the conflict between the Medicine Valley and the Golden Flame sect had been resolved, he had just taken over as the valley head, and there were still a lot of things to deal with. Night Sorrow asked Gong Xian if the Spirit Gathering Array would be activated this year, and if he could still enter. Looking at Night Sorrow, Gong Xian smiled. It's activated. New disciples and those who haven't entered the core condensation stage can enter the Spirit Gathering Array. After receiving Gong Xian's reply, Night Sorrow was very happy. He had a plan. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Aoi stayed at the Taishian Peak for a while before leaving for Danding City. When they arrived at the gate of Danding City, Night Sorrow and Aoi were about to land Tianyu and the Azure Condor. However, Yang Lei stopped them. There's no need to land. Just fly. I've already ordered that the Azure Condors can fly in Danding City. Night Sorrow and Tianyu can also fly. I've also drawn a portrait of them and sent it out. You can do that? Night Sorrow looked at Yang Lei in surprise. I'm the city lord. Whatever I say goes. It's good to have power, Yang Lei said domineeringly. 6th Senior Sister, I have some doubts. Is it a mistake for the sect to arrange for 9th Senior Sister to be the city lord of Danding City? Night Sorrow said with a smile. 13, what do you mean? Are you doubting your 9th Senior Sister's ability? If anyone dares to cause trouble in Danding City, I'll just kill them. That's my ability. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow and said, 13, do you know that in the future, the disciples of Taishian Peak will be highly valued in the Medicine Valley? Not for anything else, but for their domineering aura. It's a kind of spiritual inheritance, Aoi said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow agreed with what Aoi said. A force needed a leader like that. When they arrived at Yang Lei's mansion, it was getting late. Aoi and Night Sorrow stayed at Yang Lei's mansion. Tomorrow was the beginning of the month. Night Sorrow planned to go out early to do missions and earn points as soon as possible. That night, Yishang didn't cultivate. He just lay on the bed and slept. He was a cultivator who had been forced to sleep by Yang Lei. Meditating meant resting, but he still didn't really relax mentally. Aoi and Yang Lei drank tea for a while and decided to rest. Before they went to sleep, they went to Night Sorrow's room. Night Sorrow fell asleep on the bed with his clothes on. He did not even cover himself with the quilt. You really don't know how to take care of yourself. Yang Lei shook her head and gently covered Night Sorrow with the quilt. Okay. After covering Night Sorrow with the quilt, Yang Lei and Aoi went to rest. Night Sorrow woke up early. After greeting Aoi and Yang Lei, Night Sorrow rushed to Tianji Tower. The mayor's mansion was relatively close to Tianji Tower. It was only a few steps away. When Night Sorrow arrived, Tianji Tower was not open yet. Night Sorrow waited at the entrance. While he was waiting, enlightenment arrived with the disciples of Danding Peak. Chapter 167. Oh, enlightenment, you guys are here too. You're all early. Night Sorrow greeted them. We have to be early. Now everyone is fighting for missions because of Martial Uncle. Martial Uncle, leave the normal black iron missions to us. Enlightenment said helplessly. Okay, I'll try my best to take bronze missions. Night Sorrow nodded. He didn't have the energy to do too many black iron missions. Tianji Tower hadn't opened yet, but many people had already arrived. Almost all of them were disciples of the Medicine Valley. When they saw Night Sorrow, their eyes turned a little blue. Martial Uncle, you're here. Shiryanhai also came. Oh, you're here for missions too? Night Sorrow greeted Shiryanhai. Yes, I was chased out by my uncle to practice combat. I didn't receive any missions a few days ago. I asked around and heard that a new mission will be released at the beginning of the month. Yes, it's easier to take missions at the beginning of the month. Night Sorrow nodded. Just as they were talking, Tianji Tower opened. Enforcer Dong stood in the hall. He knew that Night Sorrow would definitely come at the beginning of the month. Line up according to the rules. Enforcer Dong shouted when he saw so many people. Hearing Enforcer Dong's words, Enlightenment and Shiryanhai stood behind Night Sorrow. None of the disciples of the Medicine Valley stood in front of Night Sorrow. This was a form of respect. It had nothing to do with the second-generation disciples of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow came to Enforcer Dong and said, I'm here to take a mission. Enforcer Dong smiled and nodded. He handed the bronze and black mission lists to Night Sorrow. At the same time, the receptionist took notes with a pen and paper. They all knew that Night Sorrow was definitely not taking a mission. Night Sorrow took the bronze mission list and started pointing. Then, he glanced at the two black iron missions. Seeing Enlightenment and Shiryanhai staring at him, Night Sorrow put down the black iron mission list and continued to take bronze missions. After accepting 7 bronze missions in one go, Night Sorrow was finally done. Be careful when you go out. If you have time, let's drink together. After saying goodbye to Shiryanhai and Enlightenment, he turned and left. Senior brother, Uncle Master has taken on so many bronze missions. Can he complete all of them with his cultivation base? A disciple of the Medicine Valley behind the Enlightenment sect stuttered. Only #Ijing, edition, *8 other Vidal G is the pirated edition. Yes, he can complete it. Let's take a look at the Black Iron mission. Enlightenment patted his junior brother's shoulder. This junior brother had returned to his hometown some time ago, and didn't know about Night Sorrow's deeds. The Enlightenment didn't mention it either, mainly because they wanted to deal a blow to him. After leaving the Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and flew directly. This was the benefit of having a senior sister as the city lord. Night Sorrow's name, Tianyu, was noted in Danding City. This was a privilege that even the elders of the Medicine Valley didn't have. Night Sorrow planned to use this time to consolidate his cultivation base. His cultivation base had improved a little recently, and was not far from a breakthrough. Night Sorrow's bronze missions were not difficult. Only one of them was more difficult. It was to hunt down a rapist in the early stage of the core condensation realm. Night Sorrow wasn't very worried about the rapist's cultivation base. He knew that the rapist's cultivation base was in the early stage of the core condensation realm. Night Sorrow's original plan was to finish the other missions and go back to do the next one. However, thinking that there would be more victims during this period of time, he went to Tianxiang town in the Qianshan city area ahead of time. There was another reason for this choice. Night Sorrow was worried that if he stayed too long, the mission information would be inaccurate. One had to know that people were mobile. If he was late, the rapist might change his location. That would be troublesome. Tianxiang town was a place with beautiful scenery. It was rich in silk, so it was relatively prosperous. Because of the importance of business development, there were relatively few cultivators. This was also the reason why the rapist committed crimes here. Night Sorrow went directly to the mayor's house to understand the situation. Night Sorrow found out that a girl had been defiled the day before yesterday. This rapist came out almost every few days. Moreover, the mayor was very sure that the rapist was in Tianxiang town. This was because the strong men in the town formed a patrol team and checked people coming in and out. Night Sorrow believed this. Tianxiang town was a town with only one road in and out. It was surrounded by lakes. It could be said that it was a town on water. Outside the lakes were mulberry fields where people worked. The rapist's cultivation was at the early core condensation realm. It was impossible for him to escape the patrol team's detection and leave the town. Mayor, there aren't many people in the town. Can't we investigate? Night Sorrow asked. Then the mayor's answer made Night Sorrow understand why the rapist was so difficult to catch. It was because this was a trading town. There were many restaurants and inns. It was very difficult to investigate. The mayor's answer made Night Sorrow have some doubts. There are many strangers and merchants coming in and out. How can you be sure that the rapist is still here? We have indeed taken strict precautions. We don't let strangers in or out. Those who let them in are merchants who have dealt with us for a few years. If it was a bad guy, he wouldn't have waited until today to make trouble. The mayor said. Well, that means that the rapist might still be here. Haven't you thought of a way? Night Sorrow asked. We thought about it. We even put a bounty on him. Several people came, but they could only see his shadow. They couldn't catch him at all. They said that he seemed to be wearing a fur coat, but we haven't seen anyone wearing a fur coat in our town. The mayor said. I'll try my best. Night Sorrow nodded to the mayor. It was already late. Night Sorrow went to the tallest watchtower in the town to meditate. At the same time, he also let out Tianyu. After meditating for the whole night, he didn't find anything. However, Night Sorrow wasn't discouraged because the town was safe last night. In other words, the rapist didn't appear. After dawn, Night Sorrow stopped cultivating and went to find the mayor. He planned to see the victims. When he heard that Night Sorrow wanted to see the victims, the mayor's expression changed. He shook his head and said, It's very tragic. Not only did they lose their virginity, but their bodies were also badly scratched. 2 of them even had their faces disfigured. You can catch them if you can. Don't ask anymore. The mayor's tone was a little unlucky. He didn't believe Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was young. Compared to other cultivators, his appearance was much worse. Okay. I don't see the victims. Then I'll ask if there are any other strange things in the town. Night Sorrow also saw the mayor's impatience. Well, they just lost some food, some ducks or something. After glancing at Night Sorrow, the mayor directly left. He also invited other cultivators. Seeing the mayor's attitude, Night Sorrow knew that the investigation wouldn't work. The mayor wouldn't cooperate. He was doing a mission. He couldn't use his identity as a disciple of the Medicine Valley to pressure people. In a situation where there was no other way, Night Sorrow could only wait. He suspected that it was done by outsiders or people in the town. After analyzing the mayor's words, he knew that the rapist didn't kill anyone. Chapter 168. Night Sorrow had to figure out a way himself, since the mayor was not willing to cooperate with him. He wandered around the streets casually, checking out the situation in the town. Although it was called a town, Sky Fragrance Town was very developed with 2,000 to 3,000 families. There were inns and restaurants on both sides of the street. It was quite prosperous. On the east side of the town, Night Sorrow felt something unusual. At the same time, he saw someone he should not have seen. It was Mrs. Luo from the town where he got the sky-piercing grass. It was Mrs. Luo who got mad when Night Sorrow broke her wall. Mrs. Luo was also surprised to see Night Sorrow. While Night Sorrow was still in shock, Blacksmith also appeared. However, Blacksmith's appearance was very different from before. He was now wearing a loose robe. "Hey, kid, why are you here?" The blacksmith greeted Night Sorrow warmly. "Uncle, why are you here?" Night Sorrow asked. "This is also my home. We just came back yesterday to do some things. What about you? Are you here to catch that flower thief? Come in and have a seat." The blacksmith invited Night Sorrow into the yard. "I'm here for that flower thief. You don't live in that town anymore?" Night Sorrow asked after entering the yard. "We don't live there anymore. The environment here is good, so we moved here," the blacksmith said. Night Sorrow knew that the blacksmith and Mrs. Luo had secrets, but he could not say it out loud. Otherwise, it would be meaningless. He took out the last jar of 100 herbs wine and said, "Uncle, thank you for giving me the sky-piercing spear. I have nothing to repay you with, so I can only buy you a drink." "I like your temper. Come, let's drink," the blacksmith said with a smile. After drinking the jar of 100 herbs wine, the uncle's face turned red. This blacksmith uncle loved to drink, but he could not hold his liquor well. "Uncle, take a rest. I still have to look for clues." Night Sorrow stood up and said, "You go to the north. There may be clues there. I was going to take a look. Since you are here, you can handle it." The uncle stood up unsteadily. "I don't have any more of that wine, but I have some other wine here. Leave some for Uncle." Night Sorrow left behind a few jars of wine that he had bought in Danding City, as well as a jar of Uncle Nyo's strong liquor. Only then did he leave. "Second brother, did you see that? That brat's cultivation has risen to a ridiculous level." After Night Sorrow left, the blacksmith uncle rubbed his eyes and said, "Indeed. I've been to many places, but I've never seen a young man like him." Sister Luo nodded and said, "Now that I've met this kid, there's good wine to drink." "Not bad." The blacksmith happily looked at the wine jar left behind by Night Sorrow. "Are we really going to let him deal with that scourge? Could he do it? We don't want to hurt their child." Mrs. Luo looked at the blacksmith worriedly. "If he wants to do the mission himself, then he has to face the possibility of what might happen next. If something happens to him, then it's his fate." The blacksmith turned around and went into the yard. He did not continue the topic. Following the blacksmith uncle's guidance, Night Sorrow arrived at the north side of Sky Fragrance Town. The lake here was relatively shallow, and there was a water bamboo forest. Night Sorrow saw scratches on a few of the thicker pillars. Although there were 5 scratches, they did not look like they were made by humans. After looking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that they were left behind by apes. Could it be a perverted ape? Yishang muttered. He was a little shocked. He remembered the mayor's words. All of the victims had been scratched. With the blacksmith uncle's guidance and the traces here, he came to a different conclusion. It was not easy to investigate in the water bamboo forest, so Night Sorrow did not continue to investigate. Instead, he moved some distance away and began to wait. After knowing that the blacksmith and Sister Luo were not ordinary people, Night Sorrow chose to trust them. After finding a suitable place to wait, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and did not move. He knew that both the flower thief and the perverted ape would only take action at night. There were fewer people in the north side of the town, so no one noticed Night Sorrow. He cultivated until night time. At night, Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and hid behind a bamboo bridge. He did not know if the situation would happen tonight, but waiting was his only choice. In the middle of the night, with the invasion of the night wind, a situation occurred. The water bamboo forest swayed, and a black shadow scuttled out from the forest and entered the town. Night Sorrow followed closely behind. He was almost certain that the black shadow was the culprit, but he still could not make a move. He had to confirm it first. After entering the town, the black shadow shuttled back and forth in the streets and alleys. Sometimes it would even run on the roofs at an extremely fast speed. If Night Sorrow did not use the dragon leap steps, he would have lost it. And this was not the full speed of the black shadow. Soon after, the black shadow entered a courtyard and did not come out. Night Sorrow also jumped over the courtyard wall and entered. At this moment, A scream came from the courtyard. Stop! Night Sorrow's body flashed and broke the window of the room with a kick. At the same time, he shouted loudly, V Yong, Z long time free of charge, read 2 novels. After kicking open the window, Night Sorrow saw the situation in the room with the help of the candlelight in the room. Just as he estimated, it was really a white fur perverted ape. At this moment, it was pressing down on a naked woman and was about to rape her. The woman was already unconscious. Seeing Night Sorrow, the white perverted ape pounced towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow brandished the reincarnation spear in his right hand and stabbed towards the white perverted ape. At this moment, there were 2 figures on the bamboo not far away from the courtyard. They were none other than the blacksmith and Sister Luo. The blacksmith and Sister Luo had communicated that the mission was Night Sorrow's responsibility. Whether Night Sorrow succeeded or failed, they would not care. However, if Night Sorrow failed, this flower-plucking scourge would have to be eliminated. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was powerful and heavy, but the white perverted ape was also very ferocious. Most importantly, it was fast. After dodging Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, it pounced towards Night Sorrow. This was because Night Sorrow had mastered the chasing wind spear art. Thus, the white perverted ape was not able to get close to him. Hearing the sounds of battle, the owner and servants of the courtyard came out with torches. Back off! All of you back off! Night Sorrow knew that this perverted ape was very ferocious. Even if it did not kill its target woman, it did not mean that it would not kill other people. After shouting, Night Sorrow used the reincarnation spear with one hand. At the same time, he took out a sky-piercing spear. He needed to have equipment for close combat. This white perverted ape was too fast. However, the situation was different from what Night Sorrow had imagined. After seeing other people holding torches, the white perverted ape panicked and jumped to escape. Seeing the white perverted ape running away, how could Night Sorrow let it go? This was his mission. When he jumped up and chased after it, the reincarnation spear shot towards the white perverted ape. Immediately after, he raised his left hand that was filled with the energy of the myriad Tao Tome. Chapter 169. The spear shot out by Night Sorrow's left hand was like a black lightning bolt. It instantly pierced through the air and shot into the back of the white ape. The white ape continued to charge forward. It could be said that the sky-piercing spear was carrying the white ape forward. The power of the spear was exhausted. The white ape continued to run, but it did not have much speed left. Night Sorrow threw out 2 more sky-piercing spears and killed the white ape that did not dare to fight. How is it? The sky-piercing spear has definitely found a suitable owner in his hands. The blacksmith and Sister Luo had already landed from the bamboo, but they did not approach Night Sorrow. Not bad. This guy is ridiculously strong. He killed it with 3 spears. How terrifying. Although Sister Luo was not satisfied with the blacksmith giving the sky-piercing spear to Night Sorrow, she still had to admit that the sky-piercing spear was fully utilized in Night Sorrow's hands. Along with the noise, the family that was attacked by the white ape came. They held torches and surrounded the white ape that was still twitching. Yes, it is the flower thief. It just came out of your house. Night Sorrow withdrew his reincarnation spear and greeted the slightly fat man in a brocade robe. Thank you, sir. I didn't expect it to be a beast. The fat man kicked the white ape twice. Yes. Everyone keep quiet. Otherwise, it will greatly affect the reputation of the other victims. They might not even be able to live. Also, go and find the mayor. Night Sorrow waved his hand and chopped off the white ape's head. Keep your mouth shut. If anyone dares to make a sound, get lost. Now clean up this place and invite Sir to the house for tea. The middle-aged fat man roared at the servants. Not bad. Blacksmith, you have a good eye this time. This child is ruthless, but he is kind-hearted and knows how to think for others. Sister Luo left after she finished speaking. She and the blacksmith wanted to kill the white ape, but now that Night Sorrow had dealt with it, there was no need for them to interfere. Mrs. Luo was satisfied that Yishang's words would have a great impact on the other victims. Indeed, if word got out that he had been defiled by a monkey, the victim would not be able to live anymore. The mayor soon arrived, followed by 2 elders. They were all highly respected elders in the town. After arriving, the mayor first apologized to Night Sorrow because he had looked down on Night Sorrow from the beginning. The two respected elders also expressed their gratitude to Night Sorrow. Mayor, I'll have to trouble you to give me proof that the flower thief in Tianxiang town has been eliminated, Night Sorrow said to the mayor. No problem, no problem. Bosqua, please entertain the Lord. I'll go and write the certificate, the mayor said with a smile. Now that the problem was solved, he felt relieved. The owner of this house, Mr. Gua, arranged for people to prepare food and wine. At the same time, the woman who had fainted from fright also came out to express her gratitude. Soon, the mayor came out with the written certificate and handed it to Night Sorrow. This matter is over. You can deal with the aftermath. I hope that the flower thief has been killed. There's no need to spread the news of the perverted ape and embarrass everyone, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's words made the two elders who came with the mayor nod with satisfaction. They also thought so. No one would have thought of the origin of this matter. The previous victims did not say that the flower thief was a perverted ape. After all, it was too embarrassing. Night Sorrow cultivated in the room arranged by Bosqua for a night, and planned to leave. When he was about to leave, the mayor and the two elders came with people and gave Night Sorrow several rolls of top-quality brocade and silk. We don't have anything good to thank the Lord. This is the best brocade in our town. It was woven by the best silkworms here dozens of years ago. It is also the best product in Tianxiang town in the past 100 years. We give it to the Lord as a token of our appreciation. The mayor handed several rolls of brocade and silk to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and accepted it. This is what I should do. It's not right to take your brocade. You can take it. After receiving the silk and brocade, Night Sorrow took out 2 gold notes and handed them to the mayor. He did not have the habit of taking advantage of people. This is not appropriate. We want to thank the Lord. How can we accept the gold notes? The mayor waved his hand and did not accept it. How about this? The victims this time are all very pitiful. Give this money to them. Yishan handed the gold notes to the mayor, then cupped his hands and left. Before leaving the town, Night Sorrow went to see the blacksmith and Sister Luo. He had a drink with the blacksmith uncle before leaving Tianxiang town. The following missions were not difficult for Night Sorrow. In less than 10 days, Night Sorrow returned to Danding City. In these 10 days, Night Sorrow had experienced many battles and cultivated his Zhen Qi to the peak of the 5th level of Qi Gathering Realm. His myriad Dao Tome also reached the peak of the 3rd level of Muscle Strengthening Realm. Enforcer Dong looked at Night Sorrow taking out one mission item after another, and his eyes were full of praise. Even those in the late stage of Qi Gathering Realm and the early stage of Core Formation Realm did not have such speed. After receiving the mission points, Night Sorrow found that he was not far away from getting full points for the bronze token. He estimated that he would be able to do it after one more sweep. However, he did not plan to continue doing missions. There were no good missions in the second half of the month. Besides, he also wanted to break through. After leaving Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow went to Yang Lei's mansion. However, Night Sorrow did not see Yang Lei. He did not know where Qiushua was either. Night Sorrow went to the mayor's mansion and asked. They said that she was patrolling. At this time, Danding City was very lively. This time, the Medicine Valley wanted to recruit disciples. All the cultivation seedlings in the region had come. Some families and small forces wanted their disciples to enter the Medicine Valley. That way, they would have a higher chance of becoming outstanding. Not seeing Yang Lei, Night Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard on the Tianyu. After returning to the courtyard, Night Sorrow saw Aoi and Yang Lei drinking tea in the garden. At the same time, they were training Chu Ning and the other 3rd-generation disciples. There were vines beside Yang Lei. Ninth senior sister, I went to ask. They said that you were patrolling. Night Sorrow said as he sat down. Yes, as long as I'm not in the mayor's mansion. I'm patrolling and checking on the situation in Danding City. Yang Lei nodded and said with a smile. Not bad. Ninth senior sister is good. Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei a thumbs up. Did the mission go well? Aoi poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow. It went well. When I have time, I'll finish another mission. Then, I should be able to reach silver rank. Night Sorrow nodded. Z update. Hurry up. You're really fast. You made those core condensation cultivators feel bad. As far as I know, you're the 11th senior brother. Young Lei said with a smile. That's because 11th senior brother doesn't like to do missions. Hai Luo, make some food. I'm starving. Night Sorrow shouted at Hai Luo and Luo Wei. After that, Night Sorrow took out the brocade and silk he got from Tianxiang town and gave them to Aoi and Yang Lei. However, he kept one for Sikong Chiyu. Chapter 170. Night Sorrow told them about the mission he received from Tianxiang town, and also told them about the blacksmith who gave him the sky-piercing spear. I told you that guy isn't an ordinary person. However, he doesn't have any ill intentions towards you, Aoi said. After eating with everyone and playing with the silver fox cub and Tianyu for a while, Night Sorrow went into seclusion. This 13, I really have to hand it to him. He's going crazy. Yang Lei said with a sigh after finding out that Night Sorrow was in seclusion. I remember that he asked eldest senior brother if he would open the spirit gathering formation after taking in new people. I think he's planning to eat the origin increasing pill before entering the spirit gathering formation. Master's requirement is for him to eat one origin increasing pill when he's in the 7th level of element gathering formation. His goal is very likely to be to eat the origin increasing pill, advance to the 8th level of element gathering formation, then enter the spirit gathering formation, Aoi said. If he's really going according to his plan, then he's really going against the natural order. Yang Lei felt that Aoi's words made sense, and felt that Night Sorrow might be planning to do so. In the room, Night Sorrow ate the highest grade origin gathering pill, and his true chi vibrated his dantian, expanding the capacity of his dantian. This was the basic process of advancing. Night Sorrow's dantian had accumulated enough true chi. Previously, he had worked hard to complete missions, and his cultivation was also very solid. As his true chi vibrated, the space in his dantian also became bigger and bigger. Even though there was enough space to condense the 6th energy halo, Night Sorrow did not stop his true chi vibrating. The bigger the space in his dantian, the more true chi it could store. After expanding his dantian to the limit, Night Sorrow began to condense the true chi halo. With enough true chi, Night Sorrow did not have to worry about failure when condensing the true chi halo. After 2 hours, the 6th true chi halo appeared. He controlled his true chi and condensed the 6th true chi halo. After 1 hour, the true chi halo began to rotate on its own. At the same time, Night Sorrow's chi became slightly stronger. The automatic rotation of this halo meant that Night Sorrow had entered the 6th level of element gathering tier. After stabilizing his cultivation base until dawn, Night Sorrow came out of his room. 6th level of element gathering tier. To go from the 3rd level of refining tier to the 6th level of element gathering tier in a year's time. This is too inspiring. You will become the idol of the new disciples of the sect. Yang Lei said. It was impossible for Night Sorrow to advance any further before the disciple recruitment ceremony. There were only 10 days left, so Yang Lei said this. A year ago at this time, 13 hadn't started cultivating yet, right? Aoi asked with a smile. They knew a little about Night Sorrow's past. Before Night Sorrow came out of Zhuyuan village, he was just a young hunter in the mountains and did not officially practice martial arts. I've started training. This time last year, I was already on my way from Red Flame City to Danding City. That's right. After stabilizing our cultivation for a few days, we'll return to the Medicine Valley, said Yang Lei. I understand. Actually, the disciple recruitment ceremony has nothing to do with me, said Night Sorrow. Indeed, but since you have contribution points, you can go to Danding Cliff to cultivate. That place tests one's limits and is very beneficial for one's cultivation, said Yang Lei to Night Sorrow. Then I'll go try it out later. Night Sorrow was very interested in this. He knew that he had some sect contribution points. The sect would give some contribution points to the king of the newcomers, and the first place of the Yuan ranking. After chatting and drinking tea with Yang Lei and Aoi for a day, Night Sorrow continued to break through at night. He wanted to break through to the 4th level of the tendon-strengthening tier of the Myriad Dao Tome and strengthen the dragon tendons on his back. The energy of the Myriad Dao Tome entered the tendons on his back, bringing about bone-piercing pain to Night Sorrow. Beads of sweat rolled down his face. Everyone was born with bones and tendons. Now that he had to forcefully channel energy into them, the pain was unimaginable. Night Sorrow endured the bone-piercing pain and continuously channeled energy into the tendons on his back, strengthening them bit by bit. This process was both painful and long. 2 hours for hours. The intense vibrations of the tendons caused Night Sorrow to feel as if the muscles on his back were about to be torn apart. In the middle of the night, Night Sorrow finally finished strengthening the tendons on his back. Opening his eyes, Night Sorrow touched his back and felt it was sticky. Using the candlelight, Night Sorrow confirmed that it wasn't an illusion. The skin on his back had truly been torn apart, and his fingers and palms were covered in blood. Without getting up, Night Sorrow ate a peak-grade energy-gathering pill and cultivated the Sage Cauldron scripture. At the same time, he stabilized his cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome and healed the injuries on his back. It wasn't until dawn that Night Sorrow got up. He took a robe and went downstairs, intending to take a shower and change. After a night of energy circulation, the wounds on Night Sorrow's back had already healed. When he walked out of the hall, he saw Aoi. "What are you doing? Where did the blood come from?" Seeing the blood stains on Night Sorrow's white robe, Aoi frowned and asked, "It's nothing. It's just a small problem when I was cultivating." Night Sorrow nodded towards Aoi and went to take a shower and change his clothes. When Night Sorrow returned, Aoi and Yang Lei were both sitting in the hall. Both of them had serious expressions on their faces, as if they were about to start a trial. Most see new chapter EB_X. I was cultivating last night to strengthen the dragon tendons on my back. The flesh on my back was a little torn, but it's fine now. Night Sorrow stretched and said, "Okay, be careful and take care of yourself. It seems like you've improved quite a bit." Yang Lei checked and found that Night Sorrow's blood was vigorous. There was no stagnant blood in his body. "I improved a little last night." Night Sorrow nodded. "Your cultivation intensity is too high. You have to rest today. Let's go fishing. Since you've caught the least amount of fish, we'll eat by ourselves," Yang Lei said. "Ninth Senior Sister, is your cooking edible?" Night Sorrow smiled and asked. "You bastard. How dare you talk about your 9th Senior Sister like that? 6th Senior Sister, tell me, what do you think of my cooking?" After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yang Lei pinched Night Sorrow's waist hard. 13, you can't doubt this point. Your 9th Senior Sister doesn't easily cook, but the food she cooks is really delicious. In the future, whoever marries her will definitely be blessed, Qingji said with a smile. "I really didn't expect that." Night Sorrow rubbed his waist and said, "It's a pity that your 9th Senior Sister isn't interested in our Tai Xian Peak's disciples. The disciples of the other peaks all take a detour when they see your 9th Senior Sister. There's no chance at all," Qingji said with a smile. "You will. 6th Senior Sister and 9th Senior Sister will find someone who loves you," Night Sorrow said with a smile. After playing for a day, Yishang went to cultivate. The result of the fishing competition was Yang Lei's loss. Her patience was not as good as Qingji's and Yishang's. After stabilizing his cultivation for 2 days, he followed Yang Lei and Aoi back to Medicine Valley. With Yang Lei's company, Night Sorrow went to Danding Cliff. There were 2 days before the apprenticeship ceremony. Night Sorrow wanted to try it out first. Chapter 171. Yishang saw the elder guarding this place in front of a bamboo building at the foot of Pill Tripod Cliff. "Elder, I'm going to cultivate on Danding Cliff." Night Sorrow bowed to the elder whom he had never met before. "Okay, I'll check your name and level." The elder looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow told the elder his name and the mountain he belonged to. Then the elder told him how many merit points Night Sorrow had. Night Sorrow had 300 merit points. Climbing Danding Cliff would cost him 30 merit points. Cultivating for a day would also cost him 30 merit points. Night Sorrow didn't ask how he got his merit points. He nodded to Yang Lei and said, "Senior sister, you can go back first. I want to try my luck here." Yang Lei nodded and said, "Okay. The disciple recruitment ceremony is coming soon. No one will cultivate here, and no one will disturb you." Knight Sorrow started climbing Danding Cliff as soon as he reached the top. "Ninth brother, the sect has informed us of your situation. Very good. The future of Medicine Valley depends on young people like you. Whose disciple is he from Taishan Peak? Why is he a heaven-level disciple?" The elder with the aura of sunset asked. "Elder Su, he is my master's 13th disciple. He came here last year to participate in the disciple recruitment ceremony." Yang Lei knew that Elder Su was old and had reached the end of his life. Yang Lei told Elder Su about Knight Sorrow's situation. "I remember now. He is the little guy who was at the 3rd level of chi refining last year. He made it to the end by sheer willpower. 1 year, only 1 year, and he has reached this level. I really can't connect the dots. Why is he a heaven-level disciple?" Elder Su was still puzzled, but he knew that the sect wouldn't mess around. There must be a reason why Knight Sorrow was treated like a heaven-level disciple. "Well, to be honest with you, Elder, 13 found the lost sacred cauldron scripture in the Medicine Valley." Yang Lei didn't hide anything from this elder. He was already in his twilight years, yet he was still contributing his last bit of strength. This was worthy of respect. "So that's how it is. No wonder the Tianding scripture that the sect gave me is different from before. If he really makes a breakthrough, he will be my benefactor." Elder Su looked at Knight Sorrow, who had already begun to climb up Danding Cliff. "Elder Su, don't say that. Everyone knows how much you've done for the sect. You don't owe anyone anything," Yang Lei said. After chatting with Elder Su for a while, Yang Lei left. She knew that Knight Sorrow wouldn't come down for a while. Knight Sorrow wouldn't let 30 merit points go to waste. In the main hall of Taishan Peak, Yu Yangyu sat in the main seat. The other higher-ups of Taishan Peak were also present. "Gongxian, the recruitment of disciples at Taishan Peak this time depends on you." "I understand," Gongxian said. "Ninth brother, 13 went to Danding Cliff and stayed there?" Yu Yangyu asked. He had just asked and found out that Yang Lei and Knight Sorrow had gone to Danding Cliff. "Yes, it will probably take some time." Yang Lei nodded. "Ninth junior sister, Master will take over as Valley Lord tomorrow. Why are you letting 13 stay at Danding Cliff at this time?" Gongxian was a little anxious. "It's fine. I've already told the Great Elder and the others that the ceremony can be held at Danding Main Hall. There's no need to be too extravagant. There's no need to be too ostentatious during this critical period. 13 can cultivate at Danding Cliff. I'm happy that all of you are successful," Yu Yangyu said with a smile. Yang Lei lowered her head and didn't say anything. She felt a little guilty. Knight Sorrow didn't know about this, but she did. She originally planned to bring Knight Sorrow to Danding Cliff to take a look, but she forgot about it when Knight Sorrow stepped off the cliff. "Ninth brother, you know me. I don't care about formalities. I'm happy that 13 took first place on the Yuan ranking. I'm happy that 11 took first place on the Elixir ranking. What's the use of just congratulating me?" Yu Yangyu looked at Yang Lei and said. He could see that Yang Lei was in low spirits. Yang Lei nodded and didn't say anything. Knight Sorrow didn't use his cultivation. He used his own ability to climb and directly reached 2,500 meters without any pressure. The scene that made him bleed last year didn't happen. Feeling okay, Knight Sorrow continued climbing. When he reached 2,900 meters, Knight Sorrow felt a little pressure. The first 100 meters were a natural moat for him last year, but it was nothing now. He used both his hands and feet to reach 3,000 meters. At this moment, Knight Sorrow didn't use his true chi or the power of the myriad Dao Tome. His body strength was comparable to a level 9 chi refining cultivator. Elder Su, who was watching from below, was very surprised. He obviously saw that Knight Sorrow didn't use his true chi. Above 3,000 meters was a forbidden area for chi refining disciples. Even if they had the ability to continue climbing, they could only reach a height of 3,300 meters. This was the record for chi refining disciples in the Medicine Valley. Yi Shang took out a wine jug and drank a mouthful of wine. He continued to climb up the stairs, one by one, until he reached the bottom of the stairs. 3,300 meters, 3,400 meters, 3,600 meters. At 3,600 meters, Night Sorrow started to feel the pressure. If he didn't use his true chi or the myriad Tao scripture's energy, it would be very difficult for him to continue climbing. The pressure from Danding Cliff continued to attack him like waves, trying to push him back. Night Sorrow poured his true chi into his arms and continued climbing. Although it was difficult, it wasn't a problem for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow lowered his head and rushed up, just like how it was the first time he climbed Danding Cliff. When more than half of his true chi was consumed, Night Sorrow also rushed to the 4,000-meter platform. There was no pressure here, so Night Sorrow meditated to recover. After half an hour, Night Sorrow recovered to his peak and continued to climb up. This time, the pressure was greater. Night Sorrow felt a strong pressure when he reached 4,200 meters. Night Sorrow poured his true chi into his body. He roared and rushed up. He wanted to see how far he could go. When there was only a third of his Zhen Qi left, Night Sorrow had rushed past 4,300 meters. At this time he decisively used the myriad Tao Tome's energy. This was because he knew that if he didn't use the myriad Tao Tome's energy, he would only be able to climb to 4,350 meters at most. After unleashing the power of the myriad Daos Tome, Night Sorrow's climbing speed increased once again. One step after another appeared behind him. He's only in the 6th level of element gathering tier, but his blood and chi are boiling. Could it be that he can really break through the shackles of 4,500 meters? Elder Su muttered to himself as he watched from the other side of the mountain peak. L update equals fastest 3, top W, G underscore Danding Cliff was a cliff that seemed to have been cut by a knife. Less than 1,000 meters away, there was a mountain peak. This mountain peak was not pressurizing, but had beautiful scenery. Chapter 172. When he reached the platform of 4,500 meters, Night Sorrow climbed up with difficulty and laid down on the platform to rest. It was difficult for him to even straighten his body. After resting for a while on the platform, Night Sorrow forced himself to sit up. After taking a medicinal pill, he sat down cross-legged to recover. It was easy to imagine how difficult it was to recover while withstanding the huge pressure. This time, Night Sorrow took 4 hours. Standing up, Night Sorrow continued to climb upwards. Even though he had recovered to his peak state, Night Sorrow's climbing speed was not as fast as before. Climbing each step required a huge amount of energy. It was like a person who could run 10,000 meters, but the last 9,000 meters to 10,000 meters was also painful, because that was his limit. By the time all the energy in his body was exhausted, Night Sorrow had reached the bottom of the 4,600-meter staircase. Just like last time, Night Sorrow climbed up and laid down on the platform. Withstanding the pressure from the peak, Night Sorrow lay down on the platform and panted heavily. Anyway, he would not fall down if he lay down on the platform. After resting for a while and regaining some energy, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and took a medicinal pill to recover. At this time, Elder Su was extremely shocked. He really wanted to go and report to the sect right now. Ever since the establishment of the Medicine Valley, there had never been a disciple of the essence gathering stage who had been able to surpass this height of 4,500 meters. The best disciple had only touched the 4,500 meters of stairs with his hands, but had not been able to climb it. However, Night Sorrow, who was in the element gathering tier, had already reached 4,600 meters. After reaching 4,600 meters, Night Sorrow did not continue climbing, but began to cultivate on the platform. Because the sky had already darkened, Elder Su was a little conflicted. He wanted to report to the sect, but he was also worried that Night Sorrow would continue climbing recklessly. If he fell and no one caught him, he would be dead for sure. When the disciple who delivered the supplies arrived, Elder Su let out a sigh of relief. He hurriedly sent the disciple to the sect to inform the other elders to come. Sitting on the steps, Night Sorrow realized a great advantage. The speed of refining the medicine was extremely fast. Under the pressure from Danding Cliff, the energy in his body naturally resisted, increasing his refining ability. Moreover, the refined energy was also very condensed. A supreme-grade quintessence gathering pill and a leopard embryo tendon strengthening pill took him 4 hours to completely refine them. In the past, Night Sorrow would need an entire night to refine them. Under normal circumstances, Night Sorrow should have recovered to his peak condition after refining a supreme-grade energy-gathering pill and a leopard embryo tendon strengthening pill. However, that was not the case now. After resisting the pressure from Danding Cliff, Night Sorrow had only recovered half of his strength. 0ch Original Chapter K, Section N7. When he planned to continue eating pills to refine them, Night Sorrow realized that his body was absorbing the heaven and earth spirit chi very fast. It was not much faster than using pills. When Yi Shang had used the medicinal pills to recover, he had been fully focused on refining the medicinal energy, so he hadn't noticed it. Now that he had noticed it, he didn't use the medicinal pills. After using 2 hours to recover to his peak condition, Night Sorrow stood up against the pressure. He stretched out his arms and resisted the pressure from the top of the cliff. When he was in high spirits, Night Sorrow punched the top of Danding Cliff, consuming his true chi. Night Sorrow did not know that there were several people watching from the opposite peak. There were the Great Elder, Second Elder, Fourth Elder, Yu Yangyu Su Chunbai, and the former Valley Master and current Grand Elder Hua Yunpeng. If he doesn't go crazy, he won't live. Valley Master, you've taken in a little madman, said Second Elder Qianwu. What is he trying to do? Lu Chenyan did not understand. He does not want to continue climbing, and he wants to continue training. In order to find the feeling, he will consume his true chi, Hua Yunpeng said. After a few dozen punches, Night Sorrow felt that his true chi was being consumed too slowly. He opened his arms, and a cyclone appeared in his hands. One hand was true chi, and the other was the myriad Tao Tome. Using the Zhenyu hand, Night Sorrow slammed his hands against the wall of Danding Cliff. Bang! Bang! A series of muffled sounds came out, but the wall did not suffer much damage. Only some dust was sent flying. After being eroded by energy for so many years, the rock of Danding Cliff was very hard. After sending out 2 palm strikes, Yi Shang continued to send out palm strikes. After sending out 4 palm strikes, Yi Shang could no longer use his Zhen Qi to send out the Zhenyu hand. His Zhen Qi could only support 2 palm strikes. Since he could not use his true Qi, Night Sorrow used the myriad Tao Tome's energy for 2 more palm strikes. After exhausting all the energy in his body, he sat down and continued to train. Valley Master, if I am not wrong, he used 6 Zhenyu hand. Hua Yunpeng looked at Yu Yangyu and said, It's the Zhenyu hand. When I was at rank 3, I started to train it. I could only use 1 palm strike at the beginner level, and 2 at the peak of rank 3. Yu Yangyu nodded. He did not refer to himself as I, because there were no outsiders here. He did not need to act like a Valley Master. This little guy has no intention of coming down. Then let him train here. Fourth Elder, you and Elder Su stay here and watch. The Great Elder said. Back at Danding Peak, the Great Elder casually arranged something for Su Chenbai and sent him away. We need to focus on Night Sorrow's cultivation. Most importantly, we need to hide him. I am worried that someone will spread the news of him to the Golden Fire sect. Then it will be easy to kill a genius. The Great Elder looked at Yu Yangyu and said, I will go and kill that traitor. Second Elder Qianwu stood up and said, No need. I have been in seclusion for many years. My cultivation is high enough, but my state of mind is not. Therefore, I cannot break through. I will watch over this kid for a while. Hua Yunpeng said, Martial uncle, is this appropriate? Yu Yangyu looked at Hua Yunpeng and asked. Yu Yangyu was 1 generation younger than Hua Yunpeng, so he called Hua Yunpeng martial uncle. There is nothing inappropriate about it. This guy does whatever he wants. I like it. Hua Yunpeng nodded. Night Sorrow was in high spirits that night. After he had recovered, he went to work on his true chi and the myriad Tao Tome's energy. Then he sat down to cultivate. He was extremely excited. The speed of cultivation was too fast, and the results were very obvious. When it was almost dawn, Night Sorrow started to recover fully. He planned to continue his cultivation when the sun rose. This made Elder Su, who was watching, confused. Fourth Elder. Why is he not working on his cultivation? I think he is planning to recover to his peak state and continue his cultivation. We all know that the Valley Master was ruthless when he was young. I didn't expect him to be the same when he took in a disciple. That's not right. He is not ruthless. He is crazy, Lu Chenyan muttered. Lu Chenyan was originally unhappy that his disciple Ao Yushan was suppressed by Taishan Peak. But after Yu Yangyu took over as the Valley Master, his dissatisfaction disappeared. Overbearing? That was because he had the right to be overbearing. Moreover, Ao Yushan was in the wrong. Chapter 173. Today is the Valley Master's inauguration ceremony. Are we not going? Elder Su asked Lu Chenyan. The Valley Master wants us to just go through the formalities. He doesn't want it to be too grand. Let's just watch this kid. If anything happens to him, the two of us will be too ashamed to continue living, Lu Chenyan said, shaking her head. Night Sorrow's performance made them realize what it meant to the Medicine Valley. It meant that as long as Night Sorrow continued to grow, his achievements would be limitless. Night Sorrow, who had recovered to his peak state, continued climbing, just as Lu Chenyan thought. Night Sorrow felt that he could still progress. He wanted to climb to his limit to cultivate. Such a place would have a stronger cultivation effect. When they first came, Yang Lei had told Yishang that this was the best place to temper one's cultivation. She and the other senior and junior brothers would sometimes come here as well. Later on, their state of mind couldn't keep up, so they didn't come here to cultivate. Another reason was that sect merit points were too difficult to obtain. It was very difficult to obtain merit points if one wasn't a disciple on the Yuan roll. Night Sorrow's 300 merit points were the reward for being the new Vanguard King, and first on the Yuan roll. Both rewards were only 300 points. One could imagine how difficult it would be for other disciples. Resisting the pressure, Yishang continued to climb. Every time he climbed a step, Yishang had to use all his strength. Luckily, today is the Valley Master's inauguration ceremony. Many disciples are at Danding Peak. Otherwise it would definitely cause a commotion, Lu Chenyan muttered. How far do you think he can climb, Fourth Elder? Elder Su asked, looking at Night Sorrow's figure on Danding Cliff. To surpass one's limits, every meter requires a huge amount of energy. He can reach 4,700 meters. As for 4,800 meters, that's impossible. After all, his cultivation is still too low. Lu Chenyan analyzed after looking at Night Sorrow's situation. Night Sorrow was indeed having a hard time. The pressure and energy from the top of Danding Cliff were getting stronger and stronger. Night Sorrow remembered that in the past, there was only a small amount of pressure and energy. Now climbing was even harder than when he was training with Yang Lei. The energy was constantly washing over him. Night Sorrow was still a dozen meters away from the 4,700-meter staircase when his Zhenqi was depleted. Relying on the remaining energy from the myriad Tao Tome and the strength of his body, as well as his indomitable will, Night Sorrow climbed to the 4,700-meter staircase. Lying on the steps, Night Sorrow could not even wipe away his sweat. It was no different from being pressed down by a mountain. Night Sorrow seemed to be stuck to the platform, lying on his stomach to recover his strength. Only when he recovered his strength could he sit up to meditate and recover. After resting for 15 minutes, Night Sorrow supported himself with both hands on the platform to sit up. Then, withstanding the pressure from Danding Peak, he began to recover and cultivate. This fella is making me so nervous. My heart is clenching. Elder Su sighed. Lu Chenyan smiled and did not say anything. He was the same. After 4 hours, Yishan had recovered to his peak state. Only then did he take out a jar of wine and gulp down 2 mouthfuls. To climb or not to climb? This was something that Night Sorrow was rather conflicted about. The cultivation speed here was very fast, but it would be even faster up there. However, the difficulty of climbing up was too great. Right now, he wasn't competing with anyone, so it didn't matter who was better or worse. If he did not want to compete with others, Should he compete with himself? After thinking for a while, Yishang gulped down a few mouthfuls of wine. He put away the wine jug and continued to climb. This was a challenge to himself. From 4,700 meters to 4,800 meters, the difficulty was higher than the previous ones. Night Sorrow lowered his head and channeled the energy from the myriad Tao Tome into his arms. He began to climb. By the time he reached 4,760 meters, Night Sorrow had almost used up all of his energy. All the energy in his body and the myriad Tao Tome exploded. Night Sorrow let out a low growl and charged upwards. After pausing for a while, he let out another growl and continued to charge upwards. As he got closer to the 4,800-meter platform, Night Sorrow's condition also deteriorated rapidly. There were only a dozen meters left, but these dozen meters were like a natural chasm. 13. Come on, you can do it. On the peak opposite Danding Cliff, Yang Lei shouted at Night Sorrow. There were others in front and behind her. After the inauguration ceremony, Yu Yangyu, the first elder, the second elder, and even Hua Yinpeng arrived. There were also the disciples of Taishan Peak. Following Yang Lei's shout, the disciples of Taishan Peak also began to shout. Yi Shang, who had already lost all his strength, took a deep breath and started climbing again. He had to reach the 4,800-meter mark. Master, why don't you let 13 come down? Aoi's eyes were a little red. At this moment, Night Sorrow, who was almost hanging on Danding Cliff, looked so small and pitiful. Gong Xian and the others did not say anything. They had all climbed Danding Cliff and cultivated there. Many disciples of Medicine Valley in the core condensation stage could not reach the 4,800-meter platform. According to the normal calculation of climbing, the peak of the energy gathering stage was 3,000 meters to 4,000 meters, while the peak of the core condensation stage was 4,000 meters to 5,000 meters. There was a history in the Medicine Valley of energy gathering stage climbing 4,500 meters, but that was a very long record. It was set by all the disciples in the peak of the energy gathering stage in the past thousands of years. Currently, 4,200 meters was the limit of the disciples in the Medicine Valley. It's not bad for him, Yu Yangyu said in a low voice. He was also very distressed. Sixth junior sister, let's cheer for 13 together, Gong Xian said to Aoi. Then, under the leadership of Gong Xian, the disciples of Taishan Peak began to shout at Danding Cliff. Night Sorrow, who originally could not hold on, felt the blood in his body boil. He let out a tragic roar and climbed up again. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters. 4,800 meters of stairs was in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow lowered his head and scratched his numb arms with his teeth to keep himself conscious. Then little by little, he climbed to the 4,800 meters of stairs. The only authentic version of the game, 9%, 8%, 8%, 8%? It was a pirated version. Night Sorrow, who was lying on the stairs, did not have any strength left. Night Sorrow, who was worried that he would fall, raised his arm and slapped a sharp rock inside the stairs. With this slap, a cut appeared on Yishang's palm. He was worried that if Yishang relaxed he would fall into a coma, so he used the pain to stimulate Yishang. Night Sorrow, who was lying on the stairs, was like a dead man, recovering his energy and true qi little by little. Half an hour later, Yishang propped himself up on the steps with his bloodied hands, and began to cultivate. Fighting with himself, fighting with his predecessors, and fighting with the heavens. What an imposing manner! What courage! Hua Yinping commented. Valley Master, Grand Elder, Great Elder, tomorrow is the apprenticeship ceremony. Should we ask him to come down? Elder Su asked. Why should we ask him to come down? Many people will come to the apprenticeship ceremony. Let's let the disciples of Medicine Valley see how Night Sorrow cultivates. This is a place that all disciples of Medicine Valley must learn, Great Elder said, leaving no room for negotiation. That's good. He has 300 merit points, which should be enough for a few days, Elder Su said with a nod. Chapter 174. The disciple who broke the record has the right to cultivate at Danding Cliff without using any merit points. I'm so old and muddle-headed. Elder Su slapped his forehead and said, Elder Su, you've worked hard for the Medicine Valley for your whole life. You should have some free time in the future and try to find a breakthrough. The Medicine Valley doesn't want to lose an elder who's devoted to the sect. Yu Yangyu looked at Elder Su with eyes full of respect. Yes, after this year's disciple recruitment ceremony, Elder Su should take a rest. The great elder also nodded. Everyone chatted while watching Night Sorrow recover on the platform. Night Sorrow realized that it was almost impossible to recover to the peak here, because while recovering, he had to contend with the energy from Danding Peak, which was constantly consuming. However, this kind of cultivation allowed him to improve very quickly. What was consumed could be recovered, but the amount of true qi in his dantian and the energy in his body was constantly increasing. In other words, once he stopped consuming and recovered to the peak state, the improvement in his cultivation would be obvious. This effect was also very obvious in refining the concentration of true qi. Under such high pressure, not only would the true qi be refined, but it would also refine the true qi that he had cultivated in the past. It was the same for the strengthening of his body. The energy in his body was constantly increasing, and it would also refine the energy in his body. After recovering to 90% of his peak state, Night Sorrow stood up and stretched out his arms to welcome the pressure. At the same time, he looked down at Danding Cliff. When he found that no one was cultivating, he let out a sigh of relief. It feels good to stand at a high place and look at the scenery. Damn. He climbed so high just to look at the scenery? Chu Ning couldn't help but complain. Heartless. Yang Lei rubbed her forehead. She was also speechless at Night Sorrow's words. He has a good attitude. He doesn't care about fame or fortune. He just climbed for the sake of climbing. He has grasped the concept of Wu Wei Peak, Hua Yinping said with a smile. After feeling the impact for a while, Night Sorrow looked at the platform. He felt that the platform had a circumference of 1 zhang, which was quite big. He took out his reincarnation spear and practiced his spear art on the platform. I can't watch this anymore. I'm going back to cultivate. Shi Tianlin was somewhat agitated. Valley Master, all of you should go back. I'll stay here and watch over this kid, Hua Yinping said to Yu Yangyu and the others. After that, he disappeared from Night Sorrow's sight and landed on the platform 5,000 meters above Danding Cliff. That works too? Tang Tian's eyes widened. To have a great clan elder looking after him. What kind of treatment was that? Why not? You guys are doomed. You guys are getting further and further away from your 13th uncle, Gong Xian said with a sigh. Tang Tian and Chu Ning were somewhat helpless. Night Sorrow's speed was too ridiculous. They were indeed somewhat unable to catch up. They were no longer on the same level. Under the pressure, Night Sorrow executed his chasing wind spear art, perfecting the flaws in his spear art. After he finished practicing his spear art, Night Sorrow executed the Zhenyu hand, exhausting the energy in his body, and then meditated to cultivate. Alright, everyone go back. Tomorrow is the disciple recruitment ceremony. Go do what you need to do. Yu Yangyu and the great clan elder stood up and left. Let's go too. 13th uncle is having too much fun. Who knows how long he'll stay up there for. Yang Lei understood Night Sorrow well. She knew that when Night Sorrow was cultivating, he was extremely stubborn and crazy. In a pavilion not far behind Danding Peak's main hall, Su Chenbai's face was cold. Su Mu, who was standing not far from him, was punching and releasing repeatedly. Su Chenbai did not bring any other disciple from Ninein Peak to Danding Peak. He only brought Su Mu to Danding Peak. The reason was that Su Mu had only been in the sect for a short time, and needed to be taken care of. Master, I want to go to Danding Cliff another day. If he can reach 4,800 meters, then I want to give it a try. Su Mu's eyes were filled with ferocity. No need. In 2 days I'll send you away to a better place, Su Chenbai said after thinking for a while. Then I'll listen to Master. I don't believe that I can't kill him. Su Mu's words were filled with killing intent. During this period of time, his cultivation had increased rapidly. He was already at the peak of the 8th level of element gathering tier. We'll talk about this later. Don't go to Danding Cliff. Su Chenbai directly interrupted Su Mu. The Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony was held as scheduled. This time, there were many people who came to participate. There were thousands of people, which was several times more than last year. The main reason was that the Medicine Valley announced that it would relax the entry requirements. Since there were many people who came to participate in the apprenticeship ceremony, there were also many people who came to watch the ceremony. They all hoped that their own members could enter the Medicine Valley. Some time ago, the Medicine Valley forcefully expelled the Golden Flame sect's influence, which made the Medicine Valley's reputation reach an unprecedented height. This time, the host was Yen Bei. However, all the peak masters also came. The Medicine Valley's development path had changed. It wanted to rise at full speed, so all the peaks had to recruit new people. However, this time the newcomers were mainly from Taishan Peak, North Peak, and Crepe Myrtle. The number of disciples in these three peaks was less. This was known by all in the Medicine Valley. The apprenticeship ceremony was still the same, but the entry requirements were lowered. The minimum entry requirement to enter the sect was back to the original level of qi refining. The distance of the Golden Test Pillar was also shortened. In addition, the number of laps around Bluestone Peak was also reduced to 14 laps. The climb of Danding Cliff was set at 2,500 meters. As long as one could pass all the tests, he or she could enter the Medicine Valley. This was good news for all the teenagers who came to participate in the apprenticeship ceremony. The chances of entering the Medicine Valley had increased a lot. There were some mistakes in last year's decision. The first elder, who was sitting beside Yu Yangyu, knocked on the ground with his walking stick and said, "The situation is different. At that time, we should have kept a low profile. Now there's no difference between keeping a low profile and keeping a high profile." Yu Yangyu said, "Last year, the Medicine Valley didn't have any conflict with the Golden Flame sect. Therefore, keeping a low profile could reduce the hostility of the Golden Flame sect. Now that hostility had arisen and a conflict had broken out, there was no difference between keeping a low profile and keeping a high profile. Whether the entry requirements are lowered or not, the Valley Master has gained a lot. This last disciple is really domineering." Yi Xiling, the peak master of Crepe Myrtle, said with a smile, "It's not that the disciple is good. It's Night Sorrow's own hard work." Yuan Tai, the peak master of Wangyan Peak, said, "P solely positive T version, you, the others are all ex-robbers T version." After the conflict between the Medicine Valley and the Golden Flame sect, the unity of the Medicine Valley had increased a lot. For example, Yuan Tai and Jin Kan, who didn't get along well with Yu Yangyu, had expressed their goodwill. But sometimes they still had to say a few words. Of course, it was harmless. Indeed. 13 has done well. Yu Yangyu nodded. Chapter 175. You will be shocked tomorrow, the Great Elder said with a smile. He didn't come last year. Otherwise, who knows which peak Night Sorrow is from? Yi Xiling glanced at Yu Yangyu and said, "Ahem. He went to Taishan Peak with the Valley Master, but he went to Crepe Myrtle. Who knows what he looks like now?" Duanlei coughed and said, "Duanlei, what do you mean? Are you looking down on Crepe Myrtle?" Yi Xiling slapped the armrest of the chair and glared at Duanlei. "All right, Xiling, why are you still so grumpy?" The Great Elder said. Of course, Yi Xiling and Duanlei were just bickering. Yi Xiling glared at Duanlei and didn't say anything. She could throw a tantrum at Duanlei, but she had to respect the Great Elder. While they were talking, the exam was still going on. Soon, the first 2 rounds were over, and the third round was about to begin. Yen Bei stood up and announced a new rule. Those who affected others would be eliminated. Because of the precedent of Qin Hai attacking Night Sorrow last year, he didn't want it to happen again. After this round, a portion of people were eliminated. There were still about 2,000 people left. Today's exam was over. The Medicine Valley sent a high-level law enforcement team to patrol the Grass Valley. The team was led by a group of 4th-rank cultivators. They were much stronger than last year. They were mainly worried that the Golden Flame sect would come and cause trouble. Newcomers were the future of a sect. No matter which sect they were in, they would be valued. Night Sorrow was still cultivating. Fortunately, he had wine, meat jerky, and fasting pills in his storage ring. It wasn't a problem for him to stay here for a while. During this time, many disciples of the Yuan Gathering realm came. There were even some in the core condensation realm. They all knew that the Yuan Gathering realm record was broken at Danding Cliff. However, they were immediately warned by Elder Su not to make any noise. Now that his cultivation had recovered, Night Sorrow stood up to practice his spear arts and suppressing mountain hands. Now that his Zhen Qi and myriad Tao Tome's energy had been depleted, he continued to meditate and recover. Time meant nothing to him. 5,000 meters above Night Sorrow's head, Hua Yinpeng was quietly meditating. He was well aware of Night Sorrow's situation. He always felt that Night Sorrow was more like a disciple of Wu Wei Peak. He had no distractions. Climbing the Danding Cliff was just climbing the Danding Cliff. He was just looking at the scenery. Records were not important. Now he was cultivating. There was nothing else. When night fell, Night Sorrow became well-behaved. He didn't want to accidentally fall because he was practicing his spear arts. If that happened, he would lose his life. He didn't know that he was being protected. Now that he had recovered to his peak condition, he felt that the 2 days of cultivation had been more effective than the past 10 days. Not only had his cultivation increased by a lot, but his true qi and the energy of the myriad Daos tome had also become more condensed. Night Sorrow, who was in a good mood, took out the only jar of green blood wine he had left. He opened it and poured a bowl for himself. Then he drank it in one gulp. At this time, Hua Yinpeng, who was on the platform, stood up. He also wanted to drink. With 2 flashes, Hua Yinpeng appeared in front of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was so scared that he took a few steps back. He almost fell off the platform. In the end, he used his hands to support himself on the cliff. Otherwise, he would have really fallen off. "You little brat, why are you so cowardly?" Hua Yinpeng sized up Yishang and said, "You're scaring me to death. I didn't see anyone climbing up from below." Night Sorrow returned to the platform and poured a bowl of wine for Hua Yinpeng. "I didn't climb up. I flew down from above." Hua Yinpeng drank a mouthful of wine. Suddenly his eyes widened. The wine was too fragrant and too strong. It's the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow didn't pay attention at first. He thought that it was a disciple of the Medicine Valley who was climbing Danding Cliff. But when he paid attention, Night Sorrow realized that he had seen Hua Yinpeng once. Hua Yinpeng shook his head. He pulled the hem of his robe and sat down. Then, he pointed at Night Sorrow's wine bowl, indicating that Night Sorrow should fill it to the brim. Seeing that Hua Yinpeng didn't want to talk, Night Sorrow poured the wine for him and drank it himself. After 2 bowls, Hua Yinpeng exhaled. "This is really good wine. This is the only half jar left. Take it, Grand Elder." Night Sorrow closed the wine jar in his hand and handed it to Hua Yinpeng. "Do you need my help with anything?" Hua Yinpeng glanced at the half jar of wine in front of him and asked. "No, I will try my best to do it. This wine is for the elders of the sect." Night Sorrow shook his head and said, "Then what about the things that you can't do?" Hua Yinpeng asked again. "If I try my best, I can do it. If I can't, then it means that I didn't put in enough effort." Night Sorrow replied. "Cultivate well." Hua Yinpeng stood up and nodded at Night Sorrow. Then he left in a flash. When he left, he didn't forget to take the half jar of wine with him. He was very satisfied with Night Sorrow's answer. At the same time, he was also very shocked. His mind was so pure and stubborn that it was scary. Night Sorrow didn't care about why Hua Yinpeng appeared. The Grand Elder of the sect was rarely seen. It was normal for him to appear here. After using a few Zhenyu palms to deplete his true qi and the energy of the myriad Tao Tome, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Ji Shengalit was very rare to increase one's cultivation without any drawbacks. The speed was comparable to the spirit gathering array. Moreover, there were no drawbacks. There were drawbacks to cultivating in the spirit gathering array. Although the cultivation speed was fast, there would be a lack of energy and an unstable foundation. This definitely wouldn't happen at Danding Cliff. He couldn't understand why the Medicine Valley set such a high merit point limit. If the limit was lower, wouldn't the disciples of the sect be able to cultivate quickly without any drawbacks? Although he couldn't figure out these problems, Night Sorrow felt that it was more important to turn the benefits into actual strength. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, Hua Yinpeng was still drinking on the 5 kilometers platform. He was still thinking about Night Sorrow's words. Simple and direct. Everything could be solved easily. If you didn't succeed, it meant that you didn't put in enough effort. His words were simple and crude. If he couldn't break through, could he do the same? While Hua Yinpeng was thinking, time passed slowly. He knew that the place he was sitting now would soon be overtaken by the kid below, and even higher. At dawn, under the lead of the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley, thousands of people arrived at Danding Cliff. The members who were going to participate in the assessment stood at the foot of Danding Cliff. Some of the original members of the Medicine Valley went to the mountain peak opposite Danding Cliff, because they could see more clearly from there. Many people wanted to see a figure on Danding Cliff. At this moment, Night Sorrow was cultivating the wind-chasing spear art. Under the pressure from Danding Cliff, it was easier to find flaws and drawbacks in the cultivation of the spear art. Only by finding the flaws could he perfect it. Chapter 176. Reaching a height of 4,800 meters at the 6th level of Element Gathering Tier. That's really unbelievable. Yi Xiling praised. Although she was a little depressed because she was not a member of Crepe Myrtle, she still had to acknowledge his excellence. Why didn't he continue? Go a little higher. Yang Lei said anxiously. She was looking forward to seeing Night Sorrow leave a better record for the future generations of Medicine Valley. At the same time, it would be a monument that would be passed down. Going too far is as bad as falling short. That place is suitable for him to cultivate. It's quite good, Yu Yangyu said with a smile. He was really happy that Night Sorrow could reach a height of 4,800 meters, and still know when to stop and cultivate diligently. Master, we'll go and try later, Chu Ning, who was standing beside Gong Xian, said. No, don't come here to cultivate if you're not in the later stage of Element Gathering Tier. Merit points are hard to come by. You have to cherish every opportunity to cultivate at Danding Cliff. Gong Xian rejected directly. Master, merit points are too hard to earn. A sect mission only costs 2 to 3 points. Why is the price so high? Tang Tian could not help but ask. Because we can't damage the energy circulation of Danding Cliff. Don't ask anymore. Gong Xian turned around and glared at Tang Tian. There were many seniors in the sect. How could a junior disciple keep talking? They would be criticized for being unruly. It's nothing. Gong Xian, tell them about the situation at Danding Cliff in detail. There's a reason why the sect set such a rule, the great elder said. Indeed, many disciples of Medicine Valley had the same question. Other than the senior disciples, ordinary people really did not know. Then, Gong Xian's explanation made everyone understand. The energy of Danding Cliff came from the 8-dragon cauldron, which was the spiritual weapon of the sect. The energy was absorbed by Danding Cliff and returned to the 8-dragon cauldron. If the energy was absorbed by the cultivator, it would disappear. If too much energy disappeared, it would affect the 8-dragon cauldron. The Medicine Valley wouldn't take this risk. If the 8-dragon cauldron was affected, the medicine cauldron's spiritual liquid would be gone. After Gong Xian's explanation, everyone finally understood why the Medicine Valley was so strict with their disciples coming to Danding Cliff to cultivate. It was because there were too many implications. While Gong Xian was explaining to everyone, Night Sorrow continued to meditate and cultivate. The examiners below also began to rush up. This was an opportunity for a carp to leap over the Dragon's Gate. Entering the Medicine Valley, and not entering the Medicine Valley in the future, would be completely different in terms of difficulty and achievement. These youths were all of high quality. They only felt the difficulty when they reached 1,800 meters. Hey, have you heard? Last year, there was a guy at the 3rd level of Qi refining who managed to reach 3,000 meters. How did he manage to reach that height? I'm already at the 6th level of Qi refining and I can't stand it anymore. A youth asked the person beside him. Of course I know. In order to prepare for this year's examination, I came to watch the ceremony last year. That person is called Night Sorrow. He is indeed at the 3rd level of Qi refining. He was one of the 26 people who entered the Medicine Valley last year. In the competition for the newcomers, he won the title of Newcomer's King, a girl in gorgeous tights said. That's amazing. You should know that most of the examiners are at the 7th or 8th level of Qi refining. He was only at the 3rd level of Qi refining for a year, and he won the title of Newcomer's King. That's unbelievable. A youth standing on top of several people said. You know too little. I know his achievements. Not only is he the Newcomer's King, he is also the top of the Medicine Valley's Yuan Gathering leaderboard. In other words, he is the most amazing person under the 3rd level of Medicine Valley. Do you understand? This time, I'm going to join the Taishan Peak. Remember me, my name is He Miao, a girl in silk tights said. I'm also here for the Taishan Peak. The disciples of the Taishan Peak are very domineering. They are famous even in my hometown. A dignified youth who climbed up behind her said. Since all of you are going to join the Taishan Peak, then I'll go too. Maybe I can become the junior brother of the top of the Yuan Gathering leaderboard. A guy took a break and quickly climbed up. Just give up on that idea. That Night Sorrow has already been accepted as the last disciple of the Taishan Peak's Peak Master. Oh right, the Taishan Peak's Peak Master is now the Valley Master. He is the last disciple of the Valley Master, He Miao said to that guy and quickly climbed up to surpass everyone. So he has such a strong background. No wonder he is so powerful. A youth in black said. Shut up. If you say anything bad about him, I will fall out with you. Hearing the words of the youth in black, He Miao immediately became unhappy. Chapter 177. Yes, someone is practicing with the spear. It's the Lord Night Sorrow you mentioned. Enlightenment curled his lips and said. Qiming curled his lips. He had only climbed to 4,200 meters, but Night Sorrow had already reached 4,800 meters. This deeply irritated him. How high did he climb? He can still practice with the spear? Asked the man in black. He was the one who said that Night Sorrow's achievements depended on his background. 4,800 meters. I heard what you said back then. Yishang's achievements today are all the result of his own hard work. It's not because he's someone's disciple. When he climbed 3,000 meters in the 3rd level of Qi refinement, he hadn't joined the Medicine Valley yet. How high do you think you can climb if you control your cultivation to the 3rd level of Qi refinement? Qiming asked the young man in black. That's amazing. Lord Enlightenment, what's Lord Night Sorrow's cultivation level now? He Miao asked excitedly. 6th level of Element Gathering tier. However, you can't judge this guy based on his cultivation level. He has already broken the record of climbing Danding Cliff in the Element Gathering tier. You all have to work hard in this direction, Enlightenment said. Qiming said. He was also saying this to himself. Originally, he thought that he was on par with Yishang. Even if Yishang defeated Shi Yunxiao, he didn't think that he was much stronger than him. Today, he knew that the gap between the two of them was huge. Soon the 4th test ended. The Medicine Valley sent out flying beasts to pick up the examinees who were hanging on Danding Cliff. The entrance ceremony of the Medicine Valley was also held at the foot of Danding Cliff. This time there were more than 600 people who passed the test. With so many people participating and the lowered standards, the number of people who passed was many times more than the previous test. Yu Yangyu stood up and walked to the front of this group of people. I'm very happy to see that you all passed the entrance test. Now it's time for you to choose which peak to join. Those who choose Taishan Peak, stand 10 feet to the east. Those who choose Naining Peak, stand 10 feet to the west. Those who choose Crepe Myrtle, stand here and don't move. Yu Yangyu announced. After Yu Yangyu finished speaking, the examinees who passed the test began to riot, and then split up. After that, the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley had different expressions on their faces. Some were smiling, some were surprised, and some were angry. Of the more than 600 people who passed the assessment, nearly 500 ran to the east. The remaining 100 people didn't move. Only a dozen people went to the west. There was also a good-natured young man who ran from the west to the east. At this time, Chu Lingxiao's body flashed and blocked in front of the dignified youth. Didn't you choose Nainin Peak? Why are you still running around? Replying to Lord, this disciple came to the Medicine Valley's apprenticeship ceremony for Taishan Peak. I don't distinguish between east, west, north, and south. I only know left and right. I just asked and found out that I ran in the wrong direction. The dignified youth said with some embarrassment. Many of the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley couldn't help but laugh. Nowadays, there were still people who didn't distinguish between east, west, north, and south. Okay. You can go. Chu Lingxiao returned to his original position and glanced at Su Qinbai. It wasn't his fault that Nainin Peak couldn't accept disciples. It was Su Qinbai's fault for ruining its reputation. Valley Master, this won't do. We accepted 600 people, but 500 of them were taken by Taishan Peak. This doesn't make sense. Seeing that most of the disciples were taken by Taishan Peak, Yi Xiling was unwilling. This was also the reason why Chu Lingxiao didn't say anything. He knew that Yi Xiling would say something. Peak Master Yi, this is their own choice. No one forced them to choose Taishan Peak. We have to respect the disciples' wishes, Gong Xian said. Although his seniority was lower than Yi Xiling's, when it came to the interests of Taishan Peak, Gong Xian wasn't willing to back down. Don't tell me that if all the disciples choose Taishan Peak in the future, the other peaks won't accept disciples? Yi Xiling looked at Gong Xian and said with a glare. It's also a skill to be able to make a new disciple choose you. If you want to accept disciples, then you have to work hard to make a name for yourself. Gong Xian's voice wasn't loud, but his words were sharp. What he meant was that Taishan Peak had a reputation. If they wanted to accept disciples, then they had to make a name for themselves. You bastard, do you think I don't dare to teach you a lesson? Yi Xiling was angry. She was about to attack Gong Xian, her silver hair fluttering in the wind. Although Yi Xiling was very old, her silver hair was her signature. Her face looked like she was in her 30s. If Martial Ant wants to teach him a lesson, then Gong Xian will accept it. But when it comes to accepting disciples, we have to follow the rules. Gong Xian refused to back down. Original WP first 2 posts / Alright, stop arguing. Come here. Let me ask you, why did you join Taishan Peak? Grand Elder stopped Yi Xiling, who was about to flip out, and waved at He Miao. My lord, it's because Lord Night Sorrow is from Taishan Peak. He Miao bowed. Yes, he's here for 13. Of course, we can't refuse him. Then come here. Why did you join Taishan Peak? Grand Elder asked, pointing at the dignified youth who had made a mistake. My lord, this disciple is from South Sky City. Taishan Peak has 2 lords from South Sky City. I've never heard of Nainin Peak. Crepe Myrtle is full of women. I won't go, the dignified youth said. You bastard who can't even differentiate between east, west, north, and south? Even if you gave us crepe myrtle, we wouldn't want you. Yi Xiling shouted angrily after hearing the youth's words. I can't differentiate between east, west, north, and south, but my father said that differentiating between left and right is enough. Also, I'm not a bastard, I'm called Xiangding. The youth looked at Yi Xiling with dissatisfaction. Aoi wanted to laugh, but she held it in. She couldn't help but turn around and lean on Yang Lei. Her body kept twitching as she tried to hold back her laughter. What are you laughing at? There are no good people in Taishan Peak. If you don't want to be my crepe myrtle disciple, then give the one up there to my crepe myrtle. Yi Xiling pointed at the top of Danding Cliff. No, impossible. Yi Xiling's words caused the 11 disciples under Taishan Peak Yu Yangyu to react. They all stood up. Are you guys rebelling? Yi Xiling pointed at Wu Qi, Huanan, Yang Lei and the rest. Xiling, you can't take Night Sorrow with you. He wouldn't even go to Danding Peak when the Valley Lord brought him there. If you want him to go to Crepe Myrtle, he definitely won't agree. The Great Elder laughed. How would I know if I don't ask? Crepe Myrtle will do its best to nurture him. Also, we have many female disciples in Crepe Myrtle. If we arrange 10 wives for him in the future, I don't believe he won't go. Yi Xiling looked at the female disciples behind her and said. Yi Xiling's words made the female disciples of Crepe Myrtle blush. Their peak lord was putting in a lot of effort and didn't even care about them. Chapter 178. How about this? All the female disciples will be taken away by Crepe Myrtle if there is no special reason. Yu Yangyu said. If he didn't say anything, who knew what other things Yi Xiling would say? There are only 40 or 50 female disciples. Yi Xiling was still somewhat dissatisfied, but she didn't say anything against it. After all, Yu Yangyu's words were the Valley Master's decree, and couldn't be questioned. In the future, all the female disciples will be taken away by Crepe Myrtle if there is no special reason. Yu Yangyu said to Yi Xiling. Crepe Myrtle thanks the Valley Master. Yi Xiling bowed to Yu Yangyu. She knew that Yu Yangyu was taking care of Crepe Myrtle. Valley Master, what about our Nining Peak? Seeing that the problem with Crepe Myrtle had been solved, Chu Ling Xiao asked. This time, you will take 200 people back. The rest will be taken by Taishan Peak. If you want the young people to yearn for it, then make Nining Peak famous. In the future, no one will be taken care of. From the next ceremony onwards, except for the female disciples who don't have any special requirements will be taken by Crepe Myrtle. Everyone else will be subject to the opinions of the disciples. Yu Yangyu said to Gong Xian. Yes, but Taishan Peak's fame isn't due to Peak Master Gong. Chu Ling Xiao looked at Gong Xian and said. Taishan Peak was the biggest winner in this ceremony, so of course he was unhappy. Io. Peak Master Chu Ling Xiao, are you provoking Taishan Peak? Let's exchange pointers? Yang Lei stepped forward and looked at Chu Ling Xiao with a smile on her face. She was now stronger than Chu Ling Xiao, so she was confident that she could exchange pointers with him. You? Don't forget that you are now the mayor of Danding City, an elder of Medicine Valley, not an elder of Taishan Peak. Your territory is in Danding City. You have no business here. Chu Ling Xiao glared at Yang Lei. You. Yang Lei pointed at Chu Ling Xiao, but she couldn't refute him. Because once one became an elder of the Medicine Valley, he would belong to the entire Medicine Valley. Chu Ling Xiao, I don't want to bully you, so don't cause trouble. No matter where my 9th junior sister is, she is still a member of Taishan Peak. Gong Xian stood up and said. Good. The sect needs this kind of competition. But I won't forgive anyone who goes overboard, the first elder said with a smile. The first elder is right. The sect needs competition. Only with competition can there be vitality. Qianqian, bring these new disciples back. When you have time, you can contact Night Sorrow. If he is willing to come to Crepe Myrtle, then what I said just now will be effective at any time. Yi Xiling glanced at Gong Xian, then turned and left. Before she left, she threw a bomb. She was going to continue to poach Night Sorrow. What did she say just now? As long as Night Sorrow went to Crepe Myrtle, she would arrange 10 wives for him. This made the other wolves jealous. What kind of treatment was this? It was a blessing. The crowd in front of Danding Cliff quickly dispersed. The new members were taken away by Taishan Peak, Nining Peak, and Crepe Myrtle. The higher-ups of Medicine Valley also left. This time the apprenticeship ceremony was over. Night Sorrow was still cultivating on top of Danding Cliff. He was now like a thirsty person who had encountered a sweet spring. He didn't need the help of medicinal pills at all, and he could achieve better results than medicinal pills. How could he not work hard? Hua Yinping had always seen Night Sorrow's hard work. This made him very satisfied and impressed. He had been the Valley Master for many years, but he had never seen a disciple with a temperament like Night Sorrow. Even his disciples Yishui and Chu Ling Xiao couldn't compare. When his true qi and myriad Tao Tome's energy were exhausted, Night Sorrow meditated to recover. When he recovered, he continued to cultivate. When he was mentally exhausted, Night Sorrow inserted the reincarnation spear into the crevice of the pill tripod cliff, and used his clothes to connect himself to the reincarnation spear. He laid on the platform and took a light nap. If he didn't do this, he was afraid that he would fall down. 6 or 7 days passed in this cultivation session. Every day, there would be disciples from the Medicine Valley coming to the opposite mountain peak, to see this freakishly awesome person. On the evening of the 7th day, Night Sorrow recovered and was about to practice his spear arts when Hua Yunping appeared. You should rest. Night Sorrow bowed to Hua Yunping and said, Disciple has about 300 merit points, which can be used for 10 days. Disciple intends to use them all up before leaving. Hua Yunping smiled and told Night Sorrow that disciples who broke the record did not need to pay contribution points to cultivate at Danding Cliff. Ah, that's great. Then I can come here to cultivate without any restrictions in the future. After hearing Hua Yunping's words, Night Sorrow was so excited that he almost jumped up. To him this was great news. Update news soonest p***. You're so happy. Don't you feel tired? Hua Yunping asked. I'm a little tired. I've been worried about wasting time and wasting merit points, so I've been in a hurry to cultivate. Night Sorrow nodded. He was indeed a little tired, mentally tired. Very honest. On the path of cultivation, you can't always be tense. You have to have a balance between tension and relaxation. Go back and rest for a while before coming back. Hua Yunping said to Night Sorrow. He knew that if he didn't stop him, Night Sorrow would continue to cultivate for a long time. He might even stay at Danding Cliff forever. Bowing to Hua Yunping, Night Sorrow placed the reincarnation spear behind his back and said, Disciple will return first. Hua Yunping smiled and said, Go on. Night Sorrow waved his arm and Tianyu appeared. Due to the impact of Danding Cliff's energy, Tianyu's height was reduced by 60 to 70 feet. Only when he was 20 feet away from Danding Cliff did Tianyu escape from the suppression of Danding Cliff's energy. Then he flew back to Night Sorrow's height. Night Sorrow violently struck his palm at Danding Cliff. Borrowing the rebounding force, he executed dragon leap steps and landed on Tianyu's back. With the pressure gone, Night Sorrow felt very relaxed. He roared to the sky and controlled Tianyu to leave. Full of youthfulness, it's good to be young. Looking at Night Sorrow's back, Hua Yunping muttered softly. Night Sorrow controlled Tianyu and flew towards Danding Peak. He wanted to greet Yu Yangyu first before returning to Taishan Peak. In the main hall of Danding Peak, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu and the Great Elder. Disciple greets Master and Great Elder. Night Sorrow bowed to Yu Yangyu and the Great Elder. Not bad. You're not far from the 7th level of Element Gathering Tier. Once you reach the 7th level of Element Gathering Tier, you can eat the Element Gathering Pill and go to Danding Cliff to consolidate your cultivation. Soon, you'll be able to reach the 8th level of Element Gathering Tier. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and nodded in satisfaction. 13. There are actually many things you can do other than cultivating. You're not familiar with the Medicine Valley. If you have nothing to do, you should walk around and relax. Crepe Myrtle even invited you over. If you have time, go take a look. There are good things waiting for you, the Great Elder said with a smile. At the same time, he left a trap for Night Sorrow. Chapter 179. Crepe Myrtle? Oh, I've seen Crepe Myrtle's Lanyu before, but I'm not too familiar with her. Since she invited me, I'll go and take a look. Night Sorrow nodded. Alright, go back. Let your 6th senior sister arrange a good meal for you. You haven't even had a full meal these past few days, Yu Yangyu said. Alright, then I'll go back first. Night Sorrow nodded and left Danding Palace. He rode on Tianyu and flew towards Taishan Peak. Great Elder, isn't this a trap for 13? If he goes to Crepe Myrtle, can he handle Peak Lord Ye's forces? Yu Yangyu looked at Great Elder and asked. 13 has no problems in other areas, but in the area of women, he needs to go through some tests. That way he won't be taken advantage of in the future. I believe in his determination, Great Elder said with a smile. Yu Yangyu shook his head helplessly. When Great Elder said that, he knew that it was a trap, but he didn't remind Night Sorrow. He knew that Great Elder had a reason for saying that. It was just as he had guessed. After returning to Taishan Peak, Night Sorrow went straight to the Bamboo Grove house. It wasn't convenient to go there. In the Bamboo Grove house, Night Sorrow saw Aoi, Yang Lei, Huanan and Gong Xian, as well as a few dozen newcomers. E only C, Yizheng edition $C, F, He Ji, Are all robbers WM edition 513? You're back. Your cultivation level is rising fast enough. You're not far from the 7th level of element gathering tier. Gong Xian greeted him. Cultivating at Danding Cliff. My cultivation level is rising fast. However, the elders of the sect don't want me to stay there forever, Knight Sorrow said with a nod. Today, 6th senior sister will arrange good food and wine to reward you. Shenrong, bring them over to greet Martial Uncle 13. Aoi called out to her eldest disciple, Shenrong. Now that Shenrong had leveled up, he had many junior brothers and 2 junior sisters under him. Everyone come over quickly and pay your respects to 13th Martial Uncle. Shenrong shouted at the group of newcomers. Knight Sorrow was not used to more than 20 bows. He even wanted to bow back. Fortunately, Aoi stopped him. It would be funny if a martial uncle bowed back to his martial nephew. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was not used to it, Aoi sent the disciples to the side. 13 Taishian Peak is accepting disciples this time. I didn't make any arrangements for you, and you don't have the energy to teach others right now. Gong Xian stated his decision. Thank you, eldest senior brother. If you really arranged it for me, then I would really be finished. How can I teach others now? I need others to guide me in my own cultivation. I don't want them in the future. Knight Sorrow directly expressed his opinion. He didn't want a group of burdens following behind him. Okay, what's your next plan? Gong Xian looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. I spent more than 10 days on the mission last time. After that, I came back to participate in the disciple recruitment ceremony. I stayed at Danding Cliff for 7 to 8 days. It's almost the beginning of the month. I plan to go to Danding City to accept a mission and raise my level in Tianji Tower to silver in one go. Knight Sorrow made his decision. He wanted to raise his level in Tianji Tower as much as possible. But you have to be careful. We'll go to Danding City together tomorrow. Yang Lei agreed with Knight Sorrow's decision. It's okay. 9th senior sister, you still have to take care of the disciples. I'll go by myself. Knight Sorrow shook his head and refused. It's okay. Let Jiang Ziming bring the newcomers to my mansion tomorrow, Yang Lei said. While the few of them were chatting, Qing Ji's maidservants and Odd Job's disciples had already served the food and wine. I really need to have a good meal. Knight Sorrow sat down and started eating. He didn't hold back when he was with his senior brothers and sisters. Aoi then called for the servants to serve the 100 herbs wine. After asking around, Aoi heard that Knight Sorrow didn't have any more 100 herbs wine and green blood wine. Aoi then asked the servants to bring in a few jars for Knight Sorrow. 6th junior sister, if old 7 and old 8 knew about this, I don't know what they would say about you. They all want your good wine, Gong Xian said with a smile. Come over if you want to drink. 13 goes out often. The green carrot leopard bone wine should be ready in 2 days. Aoi said. By the way, do you have any more blood essence pills? They're quite effective for me. Yang Lei looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Yes, these are all for you. But I don't have the recipe. I don't know how to make them. Knight Sorrow took out his remaining blood essence pills and placed them on the table as he ate. I don't need them. 9th junior sister, you practice heaven covering hand. You should use more, Huan Nan said. I'll break down the blood essence pills tomorrow and see what materials they're made of. If it goes well, our Taishian Peak can use these pills to strengthen the bodies of disciples who enter the 3rd rank. Aoi said. Senior sister, if the blood essence pills can be used, why can't the leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill? Knight Sorrow put down his chopsticks and asked after filling his stomach. It's different. It has a completely different effect. After we consume the blood essence pills, we can absorb a portion of the energy and strengthen our bodies. This requires a foundation of the 3rd rank. The leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill is too strong. It can't be absorbed at all. It's useless even if you enter the 4th rank. Aoi explained to Knight Sorrow. Hearing Qing Ji's words, Yishang understood. Without a relatively strong body and cultivation method, not to mention the leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill, even the blood essence pill wouldn't be able to be refined. This was also the reason why one had to be at the 3rd tier to use the blood essence pill. After drinking with everyone for a while, Knight Sorrow went to rest. This time it was just a simple rest. He was mentally exhausted these past few days. After resting for a night, he got up and practiced his spear techniques. Night Sorrow saw Yang Lei coming over. Let's have breakfast and then we'll leave. Okay. At this moment, Night Sorrow remembered the great elder's words. Crepe Myrtle had invited him. However, he felt that he could go after completing the mission. It wouldn't delay anything. After eating breakfast, Yang Lei told Jiang Ziming something. Then she and Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and the Green Condor to Danding City. After arriving at Yang Lei's mansion in Danding City, Night Sorrow asked the servants to feed Tianyu. Then he got up and went to Tianji Tower. Seeing Night Sorrow, the receptionist who looked down on Night Sorrow sent Night Sorrow to the top floor where Enforcer Dong was. It's the end of the month, not the beginning of the month. Did you remember the wrong date? Seeing Night Sorrow, Enforcer Dong felt a little strange. I know it's the end of the month. I'm here today to invite Enforcer Dong for a drink. We'll talk about the mission tomorrow. Night Sorrow found a seat and sat down. Okay. Enforcer Dong put down what he was doing and sat down opposite Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out a jar of 100 herbs wine and some jerky and placed them on the table. Not bad. You broke the record of Danding Cliff in the Medicine Valley for thousands of years. That's very impressive. Enforcer Dong said with a smile. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.